T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You're up.
Well, I know you've heard about it, but it's always sad. And I think also, I'm talking about Brian Williams at NBC, what makes it even more difficult to understand, for those of you who don't know, Brian Williams had said, I guess maybe in a book and to David Letterman at one time, that he was in a helicopter in Iraq and it was forced down by enemy fire or something. Right, Christina?
Yes.
It was. And some vets said, no, that never happened. You were not in a helicopter that was forced down. And what's weird is, and I know this from being on just this radio show, I mean, if you tell even a little bit of a lie, especially in this internet world, you know, someone is going to, you know, find out about it. They're going to question you on it. They're going to prove that you didn't do it. And thank God that I'm an avowed and known liar and exaggerator.
Covering those bases with every
I
word.
cover every base, yes. Because people call up and go, hey, you used to say, and you know, put my lie there, basically. You can just, you know, add any number of them. And I would go, yeah, I lied. I lied about that. But I did it for, you know, comedic reasonings. How about that one? That's what I said. My new term. I did it for comedic reasonings, and so therefore, since I, you know, am a humorist, a radio humorist, then I don't have to worry, you know, about any kind of fallout. Now, his daughter is on this huge television show now. Nasty Williams is who I like to call her. Little nasty.
Girl gets her butt eaten out once, and now she's nasty. I mean,
also, a penis was put in her by a gay man on a couch in an episode a couple of seasons ago. So she's always doing, you know, something naughty. So now they have to, an editorial that I'm reading here, from USA.com says that this is an unmitigated disaster for Brian Williams and NBC News, because everybody, a helicopter was hit by enemy fire, excuse me. Not just it wasn't just forced down because of whatever. He was hit by enemy fire. And it says the number one requirement for an anchor, I believe we're trying to get Dan Rather on the show.
Yes, we are.
You know, what's difficult is, and I know Tom Brokaw has offered also, which you could try and get him on also if you want to. That'd be great. You can't ask him these questions. They all like this Brian Williams guy, and Dan Rather got in trouble for really saying something and that he felt was true about a smear campaign that was going on against John Kerry. There was a group in Texas. So they wanted to say that John Kerry wasn't really a hero in Vietnam, and that he wasn't wounded, and that he sent his own Purple Heart information in and all that. Swift boat. And these right-wing guys who hated John Kerry when he was young, and as he got older and became a Democrat and everything else, hated him even more. They put on a campaign that said that he was lying and all this stuff. None of it was ever proven. God forbid the man went to Vietnam and fought, and any of you that went over there and fought in Vietnam and went to Iraq or whatever, I don't care what the situation is. That's a hell of a thing to be shot at and be in a war. But these guys in Texas did an incredible smear campaign. It has been totally proven that they were full of shit and lying. And that John Kerry was in a boat, that those things were fired on all the time. But Dan Rather got caught in something in that thing. And someone had given him some information. He didn't vet the information, which is, checking into it and all that. And so Brian Williams, apparently I guess a group of vets have said it never happened. And he has responded on social media. And I think the continued viewing of the video showing us inspecting the impact area. So he was brought down, Christina, but it wasn't by enemy fire or something. Is that what it is? That the helicopter did go down and had to be brought down, but it wasn't because of helicopter fire.
But then I'm reading he's told so many different versions of the story throughout the years.
Right.
It's almost like he doesn't even remember what he said.
Right. Do we have his apology?
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to apologize. I said I was traveling in an aircraft that was hit by RPG fire. I was instead in a following aircraft. This was a bungled attempt by me to thank one special veteran.
One of America's best-known newsmen has been caught in a high-profile falsehood. Brian Williams apologized in Wednesday's newscast. Here's the segment from last Friday that got him in trouble.
The story actually started with a terrible moment a dozen years back during the invasion of Iraq, when the helicopter we were traveling in was forced down after being hit by an RPG.
The military newspaper Stars and Stripes was the first to report the story Wednesday, quoting a former U.S. Army flight engineer who said Williams and his camera crew were actually aboard a Chinook in a formation that was about an hour behind the three helicopters that came under fire. Williams is blaming the whole thing on a foggy memory, saying in a written apology Wednesday that in the 12 years since, his memory of the event had evolved. It's true that NBC archives show Williams' original report noted it was the lead helicopter, not his chopper, that was hit by an RPG. But by March 2013, Williams was recounting a different version of the story in some vivid detail to David Letterman.
2 of our 4 helicopters were hit by ground fire, including the one I was in.
No kidding.
RPG and AK-47.
What happens the minute everybody realizes you've been hit?
We figure out how to land safely, and we did.
Williams said Wednesday he never would have intentionally made this mistake and promised no one's trying to steal anyone's valor. For Newsy, I'm Zach Toombs.
Wow.
There you have it.
That's bad. That is really bad.
I mean, what do you do when you realize you've been hit and you actually have an answer for it?
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah. That's not good. That is not good at all.
So do you think you can
Joel,
recover from this?
No. No. I mean, not that anybody watches the NBC Nightly News.
Yeah, but everybody
cares.
loves Brian Williams.
They do, and his daughter is, Nasty Williams. She's got to deal with it now. They're probably all back at their big mansion in Connecticut crying over it.
What do you think is harder to do? Apologize for a lie or watch your daughter get her ass eaten out on HBO?
I think it's a bad year for him. I think it's a bad start. You know how every Christmas people go, man, I'm glad 2014 is over. Well, guess what? They now have a chance to say, oh, I'm glad 2015 is over. Joel of Indiana, are you a veteran? Did you fight for our country? Did you kill the enemy?
I never killed the enemy. I was in the United States Air Force, but I never.
You were. And what's the worst thing that ever happened? And maybe you kind of embellished it a little bit when you got back, to your family to make it, you want to be a part of the action. You know what I'm saying?
No, never. I saw a lot more combat type situation as a law enforcement officer on the streets of Indianapolis than I ever did in the military. We trained and trained, but we never got activated. So. And
where were you stationed? Where were you stationed overseas?
Well, I was in the reserves, the Grissom Air Force Base. I, trained all over the Alaska, Nellis Air Force Base, Nevada, Las Vegas, different places.
Wow. So what were the hookers like in Las Vegas when you were in uniform?
I didn't do hookers, my friend.
You didn't do hookers? You didn't do hookers? Okay.
No.
Are we going to find out in a couple of years that you're lying about those hookers?
Yeah, you're lying. You did hookers in your uniform. You had them sit on your hat and everything. Did all kind of stuff to them. I've told my war story. I went and I pretended that my knee hurt worse than it did. I mean, I've told the story. I said that I was the only guy that got out that day, and I would have been injured. Now listen to me. My knees, as everybody knows, were really bad. I had to have them reoperated on many times, and I've saved the United States a tremendous amount of disability. They would have sent me over there, and I would have been, running and trying to save somebody, and my knee would have buckled, and I'd have been a lieutenant. So that was it. And thank God that, they found out in time, and I was released from my obligation. That's the bravest thing I can tell you, Joel. So, Joel, what do you think about Brian Williams? Does he recover from this?
No, he does. I read the details today, and one of their helicopters did take fire, but Brian Williams was on a helicopter that came in an hour later, and when they landed, they actually shot video footage of the damage that helicopter sustained, but they didn't have any fire on their helicopter whatsoever. They were in the area an hour later. It's like saying, hey, I flew on a plane and we actually crashed. Well, it crashed, but I was on a plane 7 days later from the same airline. It's the same thing.
Well, no, you know what's funny? I had a buddy that was flying to France years ago, and he missed the plane. And that plane, believe it or not, I don't know if you remember this. This has to be over 20 years ago. There was a Air Arabia, or I don't know what it was, but the pilot all of a sudden says, God is great, or starts saying something in Arabic, and the plane, for no reason, just dives into the Atlantic, and everyone was killed. I don't know if anybody remembers that, but if you go back and look at it, I believe it was flying to France. If you look at it now, it looks like maybe it was the beginning of this terrorist activity of a Muslim person, trying to, do something. A buddy of mine missed that flight. And then about a week later, no, he took it a week later, and all he said was, I'm taking the same flight that crashed a week ago, like that. And we would go, oh, okay, good luck. I think people like to be near disaster, but Brian Williams told a bald-faced lie
very much
to David Letterman, and then Letterman said, "What's it like when a chopper is hit by small arms fire or whatever?" Oh man, that's a bad one. I don't know if he recovers.
Credibility out the window, my friend. That's a bad one.
And what was it that got Dan Rather in trouble? Wasn't it something about Swift Boat and John Kerry and he reported that what the Swift Boat guy said was a lie or something. And later on, they found out that they were full of shit and they just hated John Kerry. But he lost his job, I think.
Yeah.
Or they did a report, some kind of huge report, and he lost his job. What's weird is when somebody lies to you and then you lose your job. I always thought that was kind of weird, So
yeah, it is. Yeah, unfortunate.
Well, Joel, thanks for gambling and staying in cheap motels in Las Vegas in service of our nation. Thank you.
Well, you're welcome.
All right. Let's go to Jeff in Minnesota. Yes, Jeff, it's Jay Thomas here. And I am not one to cast aspersions. I think Brian Williams is a nice person, but, he was caught up in the moment. He said something about the helicopter. He was on David Letterman, so he just kept going. Yes, Jeff, go ahead.
Well, I just want to say, in light of the news that came out about Mr. Williams, he's inspired me to, and this is hard, I'm sorry, I'm a bit emotional.
Hold on a second, wait a minute now, you're having trouble, I can hear you're cracking up here, your voice is breaking. What's the problem? I know you, Jeff, you called us yesterday, and you've talked to us before. Have you ever told me a lie? Have you ever lied about something?
I don't believe, in all honesty, any call that I've ever made was based on any sort of truth or actual events. And I apologize.
I mean this, Christina. He's not an actor. He sounds truly upset. What are one of the lies? Well, tell me a lie that you told me one time. It's okay. Get it off your chest. You'll feel better.
I didn't throw a girl with no arms and legs into a river.
Right.
Well, I did.
I remember that one. They didn't throw the girl with no arms and legs in the river. We talked about that at the after show meeting. And we have our after show that's only broadcast to Ukraine. It's the only place we're allowed to. We do have an after show like all the big shows have. And what else did you lie about, Jeff?
I never dated a woman that was paralyzed from the neck up.
Right, I remember that also. Right. So you're apologizing for every bad joke you've ever called this show with.
Every statement, every bad joke, and I retract. Right. And in my defense, I believe most of the statements were made based on foggy memories and misinterpretations and whatnot. And I apologize for any any misgivings that I brought upon myself and my family and your show.
And fellow callers. There's a whole group of you out there that are callers that make the show what it is. It's in my contract. I will have snappy two-way conversation. It says that right there. Not the word snappy, but it says something like that.
Initial
in the
here?
thing.
Here?
You shall hear snappy two-way conversation. I'm afraid to say anything now because I lie so much. I don't even know what the truth is.
Right.
Jeff, thank you very much. I can hear the emotions in your voice, and I appreciate it. David, you're in Nashville. Yes, David, it's Jay Thomas. Go ahead. Yes, sir.
How you doing, Jay?
Good, thanks.
Hey, no, what happened was Dan Rather got fired because he ran with the story that he got from a guy about Bush back in the day. Something about Bush's service to the military or whatever,
which turned out to be true. But there weren't any. You couldn't prove it. And listen, I have to be honest. And I'm gonna when the Vietnam War was going on, if you had money, if you had a way to get out of it, if you could do it, anybody would have done it. I mean, there are certainly guys that volunteered and all that. And I legitimately, had my knee not been operated on, I would have gone and I would have been killed by my own troops and you never would have met me. I'm positive. I'm not joking. I am positive because I was being sent over toward the end of that friggin' thing and it was bad. So, George Bush, believe it or not, to think that he graduated from Yale and was a jet pilot is really hard to imagine because we all said what a dummy he was and everything else. Maybe he's a smart guy who just, has trouble talking. But he was a jet pilot, but he didn't show up very often in Biloxi, Mississippi, is what the deal was. And we know he did coke and he was a drunk. And his father, who was the vice president, the head of the CIA for 20 years, and the ambassador to China, never took George W. Bush out of the United States. Did you know that?
Yeah, I remember hearing things about like that.
Now, you have children, don't you? You have kids?
I do.
Okay. Where's the furthest away from the United States or your home you've ever traveled?
Texas. Yeah,
You're going to Texas. You're going to San Antonio. Did you take your children with you?
Oh, no, I'm a truck driver.
Oh, well, you didn't take your kids. Well, so there you go. So imagine one of your kids is like George W. Bush. You just don't want them in the fucking truck with you because they're trouble. Okay? That's all it is. So that's what it was. But then it did turn out that, he really didn't do much and it was washed over and everything else. The worst part of when George W. Bush was elected, he allowed some people to say that John McCain was a traitor and a coward. And John McCain said to him on the stage at this Bob Jones University, this horrifying religious university there in South Carolina, he said, you could hear it on the microphone. You had your guys say, because, John McCain read one of those statements after being tortured that he was being treated nicely and we should get out of Vietnam and all. Did you know that? They made him read that in those pictures.
Yeah. But they made him.
Well, George Bush's people actually made an ad saying he was a traitor, and they took it off. And then McCain says to Bush on stage, why did you do something like that? And Bush says, well, I didn't know that happened. And McCain says, yes, you did. You're a liar. That's not true. You're a liar. And so, look, there's all kind of crazy shit about that war. I mean, John McCain, was he a hero for being shot down early on and being held for 7 years? Maybe not, but he was a hero for not allowing them. They wanted to let him go 2 years in. You know that, right? Because his dad was an admiral.
But he wouldn't sign.
And he said no. And they did shit to him. They did stuff to his penis. They kept his arm broken. They broke his legs. They tortured this bastard, and they kept him in solitary confinement. I mean, I'm telling you, he was horribly tortured. Yeah,
I'm not even a Republican. I'm not a Republican, but I actually do like McCain. I've always thought.
I had him on the show, and I thought he was great. And it's the same thing, a lot of these guys, Bob Dole, too. After he lost the election, he starts doing funny commercials. He's on David Letterman, and he's on Tonight Show and all. And you go, why didn't he act like that when he was running for president? You know, same thing with McCain. He became another guy after he started running for president. So, all right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, David in Nashville. It was because of George W. Bush and whether he would really, showed up and stuff. Let's go to Martin of North Carolina. Yes, Martin, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I can't believe that you would forget that an RPG. I just can't believe somebody could forget that an RPG didn't hit his helicopter. That's fucking unfathomable. I can't believe that.
And that's true. And, speaking of Dan Rather and speaking of all the other, the older newsmen, remember those guys really went to war and would go. And I remember seeing, the Vietnam War was the first war that you could sit down in your living room with a sandwich and you watch the war on the news. The first one ever. And they showed people getting killed. And Dan Rather and all of those old news guys, Tom Brokaw, they were being, right there with the troops being shot at. And the bombs would go off. You saw that when they were embedded in Iraq. I don't even know if they allow them to do that anymore. But I think that Brian Williams, this doesn't excuse him. I think he wishes he had been in the action. Do you know what I mean? It's like he made up a story because everybody was embedded and they were in you remember that, don't you? You would see them in Iraq. They would be shooting, killing, bombs going off, and we lost people. We lost news people, men and women. And so I just think he wanted to be a part of the action. And it's hard not to do it, but you can't do it these days. Cannot do it. Can't be done.
I joined the Marine Corps because my cousin was a Marine, and he works on the airfield. And they actually had a helicopter land with an RPG that didn't actually go off, but it hit the helicopter, and they had an emergency landing that he was telling me about. And so, these guys are in a helicopter and a gun or whatever hit the side and it got stuck in the helicopter, but it didn't go off. They had an emergency landing and have to land at the airfield.
One time, right before I got out of the service, I was in San Antonio. And when you screw with a condom sometimes and the condom gets caught inside of the hooker and you have to get in there and kind of pull it out. I remember that. So I have that kind of same thing going on in my life. Yeah, it happens. Yep. Yeah. Sometimes it happens in somebody's butthole, too. And, it's a little trickier. All right. Thank you. And then you know what I do, Christina? I call Allison Williams to get it out with her tongue. Oh, yeah. Isn't it funny? You tell one little white lie about an RPG. Your daughter gets her ass eaten out on national TV, and somehow your little lie is worse than somebody's tongue up your daughter's ass.
Yep.
How America has changed.
God bless America and no one else, right?
Well, I wish that I had, I wish I was a newspaper columnist because it would be fun to write a column that says, Brian Williams did a bad thing, but don't you think his daughter's thing was worse? And then the columns about her being eaten out on national TV. But let's go to Dave of Georgia. Yes, Dave, it's Jay Thomas. Go ahead.
Hi, Jay. President Bush flew the Delta Dagger, and his missions were supposed to be to fly over the polar ice cap and use a nuclear-tipped missile to blow up the bombers that came over there. And
come on. Wait a minute. George Bush, did he ever do that? Did he ever fly over the ice cap? Oh.
Well, they flew the F-102s, I think they were. And they tried them in Vietnam, but they were so dang fast, they didn't really work at low speed. So Bush actually did volunteer to go to Vietnam, but they said they were scrapping those airplanes, and he had the choice, like a lot of people in the Air Force do. Take 5 more years, and we'll train you to fly an F-16, or finish your year and a half or 2 years, whatever you have left. And then, we're not going to have an airplane for you to fly, and you're a pilot. So what are you supposed to do? Go sit in the barracks and twiddle your thumbs for 2 years?
I had never, ever, I never, ever heard this, ever. I've never heard it on a show. I've never read this, ever. This is the first time I ever heard that he had an aircraft that was too fast or whatever it was, which I understand, for Vietnam.
He was an interceptor pilot. He flew the F-102, I think it was called an F-102. And it was the interceptor that they made to counteract a massive bomber strike. And he had 2 nuclear-tipped missiles, and that's all the arms they had. They didn't have machine guns. They didn't have any of that stuff on those airplanes. And they did try them in Vietnam. His squadron did go to Vietnam, some of them. And they said, well, they aren't useful to us. There's no tactical mission for them. And Bush did volunteer to go if they ever sent them again. But then they sat him down. They told all those pilots, we're not flying this plane anymore. We don't need it. We have the F-4. It can do the same thing. And you can either stay in for 5 more years and we'll train you to fly an F-16, which is what we're just getting now.
Or go to Biloxi, chase whores, drink and do coke. I would do that.
Exactly. Well, when the pilot shows up, there's nothing for them to do. Whenever they fly an airplane that's been obsoleted, there's nothing for them to do.
Absolutely.
So why show up?
I agree. I'm with you. Dave, I stand corrected, and that goddamn Dan Rather deserves everything he got, Christina.
Exactly right. Because
he deserves everything he got.
He had a guy that was committed to a mental institution twice, was his source.
What's that? Well, wait a minute. You mean Dan Rather used a mentally deficient person?
Exactly. That was his big source. And he went with it. And that's why Brian Williams tells lots of lies. He talks about the Republicans gonna cut a budget on the news. They aren't gonna cut a budget. They're never cutting anything. They're just cutting the increase. And he sits there and lies to everybody every day anyway.
So you don't like him anyway. What do you think of that daughter of his having her ass eaten out on national TV?
I think that shows more talent than he shows.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to get one of those George W. Bush nuclear-tipped rockets and shoot it right up that sweet ass of hers.
A Delta Dagger or a Delta Dart?
I'd like to. You know what? I'm going to start calling my penis the Delta Dagger. Hold on. I got to write this one down.
Yep. Not the meat torpedo?
No, I don't like that one. What do you got for me tonight, baby? I got a Delta Dagger is what I got.
That's right.
I got
Supersonic.
Now, you really a big Republican. How do you even listen to this show? Because I'm a bleeding heart tax and spend Democrat. How do you even listen to this show?
I like to hear when you don't listen to people. When you ask them a question, and you keep yammering, and then they say something later, and it's exactly what they already told you, but you're too busy talking to hear them. That makes me laugh my ass off.
So people listen to me. I'm starting to get it. People listen to me because I am so bad at this and such a fucking non-listener. And you know good and well, I can't, most people wouldn't be listening because they'd be on the computer. I can't do 2 things at once. So I can't type, look, Google, nothing. So if I don't have the information in my head, so I'm just looking out the window, not listening. I'm not even distracted by anything. So
I love hearing you ask a question that they already answered.
But I listened to everything you said. You said that George W. Bush was a complete asshole and refused to go to the war. I heard that. I heard it completely. All right.
Right in his cockpit.
Yeah, he should. Yeah, and he flew Piper Cubs, and they didn't need him over there. They didn't need propeller planes.
The runway and hit the eject seat.
He would. And there was no eject seat in a prop plane at that time. All right, David, Georgia, thank you very much. And you know what, Christina, when you laugh like that, it makes me think that guy's telling the truth. What's sad is, of course, that's not true. I listen. I know what everybody's saying.
Uh-huh.
I do.
I know.
It pisses me off. It really makes me mad.
To hear somebody talking while you're screaming over them. It's so, easy to do. You're multitasking. Mm-hmm.
Let's go to Martin, who's in Virginia. Yes, Martin, it's Jay Thomas. Yes, go ahead.
The ironic thing for NBC and Brian Williams is that they're running a series of ads now on their station that has, I believe it's Michael Douglas doing a voiceover about how Ryan Wilson has built trust. It's something you build over time. And it shows black and white pictures of him, at Katrina and with a soldier. It's just, he really didn't lie. What he did is he told a bullshit story, and he got caught.
Yeah. Yeah, he was sort of close. Yeah, he was sort of, it's like 5 guys have screwed a girl and you go, yeah, I did too. Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, wait a minute. No, I was in the same hotel that they were in, and I was in a room down the hall. I was down the hall.
It's a bullshit story.
You know what's sad? And when you get caught like he's gotten caught, there's always something like ads for trustworthiness being run that just makes the shit fall even deeper on your head. It's sad. It's sad. Like if I got caught, good evening, I'm Jay Thomas, and I'd like to say something. Many of you know that I generally don't know what I'm talking about. I just read a teleprompter. When I'm interviewing someone, many times I don't even listen to what they're saying and then ask an innocuous question or talk over them. Let me just say that I was really near a helicopter that was shot, and it was really frightening, and I just wanted to be a part of it. And I hope you understand, all my colleagues were on the ground being shot at. I just wanted to be a part of it. All right. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll be back. Just do it like that. Just say, look, I'm full of shit anyway. That would be easy for me,
By the way, doesn't he just read a teleprompter anyway?
Yeah, but some of these guys, they're all writers, and everything is fragmented now. And I'm sure he's probably not writing for himself anymore. Maybe he does. I really don't know. But these days, things are written for you, and you edit them. And you go over the questions you're going to ask. And so a team does it. And that's because they have enough money and enough people that can do it. It's like a television show. It's like I could act funny, but I'm reading somebody else's lines, right? But you give me credit. You give me credit for the lines and everything. And so I think that's true of newscasters these days. They have their own style, but on Fox, or on a channel where they're not doing the news, they're asking the questions themselves. But Brian Williams is reading. He's reading a teleprompter.
Oh.
Yeah.
By the way, when do you think it'll show up on Newsroom, a storyline like this? When
I don't.
Newsline. Goodbye.
Didn't they get canceled? Aren't they canceled? I hated that show. Let's go to Shannon of Utah because it was too earnest. It's all, they acted like news people were saving the world and all that bullshit. Shannon, it's Jay Thomas. Go ahead.
Hey, Jay, how you doing, sir?
Good. Thank you.
Hey, I just thought it was kind of weird. You were talking about John McCain, and all of a sudden a Mercedes passes me with a big license plate that says McCain on it.
Either that's his wife or one of his daughters, probably, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I know he comes to Utah, but I just thought that was really ironic. I was like, holy shit. But
isn't that something?
And then as I passed the golf course here in Provo, some guy was peeing in the river.
So that's what I would be doing. So that was like seeing me. I pee in the river all the time. Yeah, and then John McCain passes. Yeah. You'll never see me in a Mercedes with Thomas on the license plate, ever.
Right. I seen Kevin up here at Sundance. I live over here, Park City, and I see Kevin at Sundance. I was going to go say hi, but didn't know if I should bug him or not, but...
Kevin would love anybody to recognize him. You should have gone up and said hello.
I thought about it, and I'm like, I shouldn't bug him, but my daughter's an actress, so she drags me up there all the time, so.
Well, if ever you see me, come up, hug me. Hold me as tightly as possible. All right. All right, thanks a lot. Thank you, Shannon. Let's go to Nick in New York. Yes, Nick, Jay Thomas here. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, Jay?
Good.
I just want, while we're talking about Bush here, I don't know, I don't think a lot of people know that, like, the Bush family gained all their wealth from, like, I think it was the great-grandpa or something, or it was the father of...
well, there's Prescott Bush. They're from Connecticut. And you know the actress Glenn Close, the famous woman actress Glenn Close?
Yeah.
Okay, her family and the Bush family, and I lived there in Greenwich, Connecticut, but I couldn't afford it. But I lived there for a while. Glenn Close's family, this is old Connecticut money. Her family's incredibly wealthy, and they were friends with, and I'm sure she was raised with the Bushes. And then Prescott Bush was a United States senator, but they got into oil. And, of course, they were from Connecticut, and they drilled in Pennsylvania, and they drilled in Texas. What's funny is, when I stop, there's a place I like to stop and pee from Los Angeles to Santa Barbara. And when I pee, I pull off to the side of the road, and there is a producing well there, and it's a Bush well. It has their name at the base of it. It's like Bush 32 or whatever. And so somebody in that family early on made hundreds of millions of $1 billion in the oil industry. Yeah.
But also it's been proven now, and I don't think it's even been disputed that Prescott Bush guy, the guy that you mentioned, that he was funding Adolf Hitler. I mean, it was, he was funding both sides.
I never heard that one, but I will tell you something. Joseph Kennedy, John F. Kennedy's dad, and Lindbergh, the famous pilot and stuff like that, they believed that the Germans were going to win the war. And they thought that they were going to take all of Europe and they were going to overrun Britain, whose navy was in trouble and everything else. And there were a lot of industrialists who said we should probably end the war on the side of the Germans because Stalin is really a problem. And so when you hear that, I don't even know if they knew how horrible he was or not. But there were a lot of Americans that thought we should make a deal with the Germans, not enter the war because they were going to win. That's the truth. So that might have been, not that excuses it for 1 second. And you have to realize something. Until Pearl Harbor, Americans didn't want to enter that war over there. And no matter what was being said about Jewish people, we turned away this huge tanker filled with Jewish people. And they went all the way around the world. There was a movie called Ship of Fools. We are one of the many countries that refused them to dock and get off the boat. They went back to Germany, and they were all put in concentration camps, and almost all of them died. So we tried to stay out of it, and there were some people that said we ought to enter it, but on the side of the Germans. Okay?
Well, in any case, I got to say, I mean, it's shady the way that they got all their money, the Bushes, and what's kind of what I don't like to see is like.
I don't know if it's shady. Remember, there was no income tax for Rockefeller. There was no income tax for Kennedy. There was no income tax back then. These guys were back in the early 1900s. We didn't have income taxes till 36 or something like that.
What do you think about that big JFK speech where he spoke out against secret societies? Like what was he talking about with that? I'm curious because, how Bush and Kerry, both of them were part of the Yale, the Skull and Bone Society or something like that.
No, the secret societies were communist. My dad once said to me that when he was in college, he would go to a communist reading room or something, and they would read stuff about spreading the wealth. And I've joked about it, but my mother-in-law and my father-in-law were both communist sympathizers. They didn't get that Stalin was a murderer for some reason. And John Reed in the movie Reds is about these people, and a lot of them lived in Greenwich Village and a lot of universities. They saw this inequity that we're now seeing between rich and poor, and they wanted it to be more spread out. And there was, remember the Depression was horrible, and really, really rich people who had cash, they were okay, and everybody was broke. I mean, we had 35% unemployment or 40%. It was horrible. So it looked like a good thing. It's just that they didn't realize to get people to do that, you had to shoot them and kill them if they tried to, leave the area, So that's secret societies were communist societies. I think that's what he was talking about because there was we were frightened that there were communists in the government starting in 1949. The fear from 49 to the 50s was that the commies were everywhere, and that's what made Joe McCarthy. You remember that guy, Joe McCarthy, who was hunted for all the commies and all that. Yeah. So if you and I were running for something, we'd have to say something about the communists too. We'd have to say something. We'd have to. Like if I was a politician, I would say, fuck them. We need the Middle Easterners to handle their own shit. The Jordanians are all upset now. I'm going to tell you something. Before that poor pilot was burnt up live the other day in a cage, do you realize, and there still are, tons of ISIS sympathizers in the country of Jordan. And some of them happen to be that pilot's relatives as of a week or 10 days ago. They were coming out and saying that they don't want to do anything over there. This is before their nephew or son or whatever flew and was captured. And the Saudi Arabians have been giving money to fucking Al Qaeda. All kinds of shit's happening. I would say as a politician, fuck all that shit. Let the Middle Easterners handle that shit. And the Europeans. We should not be spending billions of dollars on it. 90% of the bombs that are dropped over there, we drop them. The fucking Jordanians have 4 airplanes, for Christ's sake. Give me a break. It's fucking stupid. But if I was running for something and you were with me, we couldn't do that. We'd have to go and say, oh, we got to stop all this fucking terrorism and all that shit. We'll stop it fine in the United States. Because we can see them on their camels with their long headdresses coming across the border from Canada. We'll be able to spot them. See?
Yeah.
That's how they come, you know. That's how they are. They have camels. If they don't have a camel, they can't attack us. They can't attack us.
They're too slow.
Oh, it's too slow. That's right. And as soon as our friends in Mexico see a camel, they call us. So, yeah. Sean Hannity says they're all coming in across the border with the illegal immigrants. I guarantee you that if I was an illegal immigrant and I knew a guy was an Arab, I would kill him and beat the shit out of him in about 5 seconds and steal all of his oil money before I got into the United States.
Yeah, damn right. They don't.
I got this fucking thing figured out, my friend. I got it figured out.
Max, they're our allies. Time to recruit some illegal aliens.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
The Jay Thomas Show. It's the afternoon show. We will say what you are thinking.
What can I say? The guy's good.
It's the Jay Thomas Show.
Jay Thomas.
Sirius XM, Indy.
And they had the kids waving. You know how these characters wave in front of like, get your taxes done or come on in for a free soda or something? They had the kids waving for you to drive over and give them money. And the kids were in the street. So I said to them, I said, look, there are, go to a shelter. I would give you money, but what use is it me giving you money? You got 2 kids here that are like, 5 and 8 or something.
Right.
And the guy did not speak to me. Didn't speak. Now, he was Hispanic, but I don't know whether he could speak English. And the wife was there, too. They looked embarrassed. They looked worried. And I said, there's shelters. There's all kind of crazy shit going on. I'm leading this to Bobby Christina Brown, who was Whitney Houston's daughter, brain dead, and apparently of an overdose in a bathtub, much like her mother died. And they're telling Chris Brown to pull the plug on her and that she's done for.
Bobby
she apparently
Brown.
OD'd.
Bobby Brown.
I mean, is it Bobby?
Yeah, Chris
Bobby
Brown is not in relation to this. That's the one that beat up Rihanna. This is, different.
Anybody named Brown apparently beats people up. The last name of Brown. I tell people to change their last name. If my name was Jay Brown, I would change it to something else. Sounds like could be a beater, something. Now, what about Bobby Brown? Is he beating people? What's he do?
Well, he's not
What?
He's not the best guy in the world, but I'm
He's not the best guy?
No, but
He's not the best guy in the world?
Yeah.
I see. What's weird is, and this is strictly a rumor, I think I have facts to prove it, but there have always been reports that Whitney Houston was gay. And one of her aunts, I don't know which one. Well, Dionne Warwick was one of her aunts, and Sissy Houston was either her mother or her aunt or whatever. And there's a couple of women in that family that were gay, were lesbians. And the rumor is that she said, I should come out, I want to come out, or whatever. The only time I ever met Whitney Houston was many years ago when I was a DJ at Kiss in Boston. And people are going to say, hey, you were never a DJ there, just like Brian Williams. I was a part-time DJ. I used to fill in for the morning guy, Matty in the morning, and a guy named Dale Dorman in the afternoon. And I would do both shifts and fill in, and then I went to Buffalo, New York, and I'd been fired in New York, and I was in between jobs, and I worked in Boston. And a guy named Richie Ballsball hired me. And so I worked there. And so one night they closed a department store down, and Whitney Houston, at the height of her career, is a big party for her at this department store, like a Saks Fifth Avenue or something. And I remember going in, and it was pretty exciting to see her there. And she was looking at women, in my estimation, like they were Sherry's berries.
Really?
She was just, she was big, ogling juicy, all the women.
Delicious, luscious.
Big, juicy, delicious with a chocolate chip and a swirl on top of it and white chocolate. Oh, yeah. Dark chocolatey goodness. A lot of it. And I remember thinking, man, she's really checking these women out, not just looking at their clothes and stuff. And so over the years, she marries or whatever Bobby Brown. And the rumors were that he slapped her around, right? There was some domestic violence reported, I believe. And if this is all hearsay or whatever, let me say that it's what I read or heard on various outlets at the time, right? Or saw on the internet or whatever. And I used to say, hey, he's got to know if she's gay. He's got to know, and he might have married her, as we've seen the Kardashians do, for a lot of reasons other than, they were in love with each other. Now, they did have a kid, and so I guess they at least screwed one time. But that makes you angry as hell, and you are not with someone you want to be with, and you're with someone that doesn't want to be with you, and that impacts the kid. And so this poor child grows up and is not the most attractive-looking person either, right?
Well, she looks exactly like Bobby and a little bit like Whitney, but more like Bobby. Like a lot like Bobby.
Bad when the daughter looks just like the dad with the beard and everything. Always bad and everything else. And so it's a tough life. And so who knows? And then Whitney was out of control a lot of the time, and probably nannies raised her. They were immensely wealthy. And all that. And was she a singer or anything? Was what's her name? Bobby Katrina?
Christina, her name is.
Bobby Christina. Was she a singer? Did she have any talent at all?
Did Bobby Christina ever sing? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I think she was just around the scene.
Yeah. That's hard for kids, too, for some reason. I would be happy as a lark if my dad had just been rich. And I would have been a great rich kid. My brother would have been a bad rich kid. I would have been a great rich kid. I would have actually done something or had some little job or whatever, but really just been rich. And I've really lived like a rich kid. I've really lived like Jay Thomas is an entity. I'm a made-up thing. There's another person who has another name who is a lot different than I am. This is so weird. I thought about this recently. I am not that other person anymore. I started as him. I lived as him for a long time. And I became Jay Thomas. At first it was just a name, a fake name. And then I became Jay Thomas. And a personality that was not the guy that I was born. And a person that was able to provide an incredible life for this other guy who was a lot quieter, a lot more conservative, a lot more thoughtful about things, a lot more loving, and a lot more frugal with his money. And Jay Thomas would say, okay, cut it out. We got to do this. Look, I deserve a mansion. Okay. If I've worked my ass, I make a bunch of, buy me that fucking mansion. The other guy that I was born in, I didn't want the mansion. I didn't give a fuck about the mansion. I was never raised in a mansion. I would buy a fucking mansion. And it was weird. It's odd. And I believe that happens to kids, sometimes too. It's a dichotomous life you live when you're an entertainer, and then you're an entertainer's kid, because you're just along for the ride. Jay Thomas has usurped everything that I was when I started my life as John. I've stolen everything from him. Now that we're in a little financial trouble, I've had to turn to John and say, what do we do now? And so John is now trying to figure it out. So maybe we're a little bit closer. But anyway, that may sound odd, but that's why rich kids and famous kids, parents, they have trouble. So there you go. That's my little thought. It'll all be in my book. Who Am I? That's right. Name of the book. Really, who am I? Maybe that's a title.
The Jay Thomas Show. Afternoons.
They can't afford to pay you because you're so talented.
Jay Thomas.
Sirius XM, Indeed.
There has been a ton of talk about this Super Bowl I don't know if this ad is real, or you can look it up, Christina. There's an ad out there now. I don't think it's the real Pete Carroll. Maybe it is. It shows Pete Carroll, the coach of the Seahawks, with that, smile of his and everything else, at a fast food place. And someone is getting a sandwich, and he said, should I hand it to you, or should I step back 8 yards and throw it at you for no good reason? Which is what people think they did in the Super Bowl. I personally think the call was fine. It was a great defensive play, and that was it. Now they're saying, and the Patriots won the Super Bowl, and Bill Belichick is a cheater, and Tom Brady was a cheater, so cheaters do win. And so there's been huge controversy, and it goes all the way back to the deflated ball and what that meant to them and all that. But I also thought that if you could really go back into a person's past, and if you could find someone that knew Bill Belichick when he was in high school, and someone that had observed him, not as a fellow player, but maybe as someone who was a manager of the team and saw him way back when, and a person who happens to be a physicist who can discuss the academics of the flight of the football and everything else. It's actually killing two birds with one stone. Dr. Timothy Gay, welcome to the Jay Thomas Show. How are you?
Jay, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
Well, first of all, you're not going to believe this. I've read your book cover to cover,
dude,
The Physics of Football, and I sent it out as Christmas presents to a couple of buddies of mine. We're all into it, but we're all into and both of them are ex-college quarterbacks. And, I love throwing the ball on the years ago. Did you ever see me throw it at the meatball?
I've seen you throw the ball.
Yeah. And what's amazing is I wanted to have you on to talk about this and the deflated ball, all that. But in your bio, which I'd read, but I forgot, you knew Bill Belichick in high school. You were the manager of the football team. What high school was that?
Phillips Academy in Andover, Massachusetts. It's a boarding school just north of Boston.
Now, wasn't that a school? That sounds like a rich kid school. Or was it a school where kids who were going to make it to the next level were sent?
It's a school for a lot of kids that have been born on third base. It is a rich kid school. I was not a rich kid. I was just a hick from Ohio that showed up to get a good education, but it was an education in more ways than one.
And Belichick's dad was a famous coach.
Yeah, right? he was at Navy. Yeah, he's well known. Wrote an important book on coaching. Yeah, very famous guy.
And why was he there, to play football, or was his dad wealthy?
Yeah, he was there basically to play football. He was what they call I think they call it a postgraduate, which is prep school euphemism for ringer. And so he was brought in to make our football team better. I think he probably made our football team better, not because of his huge playing skill, but because of his huge intellect and his understanding of the game, which even our regular coach would, consult him on periodically.
So you could see in Bill Belichick, and I don't know much about him after that. Where did he play college, and did he play in the pros?
He never played in the pros. He coached. He started coaching early in the pros, but he went to Wesleyan in Middletown, Connecticut, and his major sport, I believe, was lacrosse, and so he was kind of a lacrosse star at Wesleyan. He did play football, but I don't remember the details. But of course, not many people from Wesleyan make it into the pros. But he knew. Well, I think he knew early on he was going to be a coach, and that's kind of where he was headed.
I hate to embarrass you because your last name is Gay, and I know you've had to deal with that your entire life. But I've had many friends who sent their kids to Wesleyan, and there's a lot of lesbians at Wesleyan. It's known for that. And so I didn't know he went to Wesleyan, and a buddy of mine.
It's a nice place. What are you going to do, right?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you very much, Doc. And you, of course, for those who they're going, this guy never played football. Well, yes, he did. But of course, you played at Cal Tech. And I believe you played at a university that was so bad that the New York Times wrote an article about it. That wasn't Caltech, was it?
It was Caltech. It was actually the Wall Street Journal. And we made my senior year. We made this is not a column you want to make. We made the humor column, which is the one that used to run down full column all the way down from top to bottom, and they'd talk about interesting things. But they decided one day in October to pick on us, and there was a big article about our team and how we'd gone 1-7, how our weights were lower than our IQs and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
And you were a tackle?
I was a weak side tackle, and I stunk up the O line for 2 years. So it was not my finest moment.
How big are you? A college tackle, big guy?
At the time, I beefed up. I was 6'4.5", about 290 pounds.
Wow!
And then I married a good cook and stopped playing ball, and I stayed at 290, but it all turned to fat.
Well, so you're not. I mean, yeah. So you were. And who does Caltech play? What are some of the powerhouses?
Well, the powerhouse, of course, the powerhouse was the University of California, Riverside. Freshmen. So they beat us. I think they beat us 68-0. Wow. We played Laverne College. We played Harvey Mudd College. It was, and we rarely won. Wow. But we had a good time.
Well, thanks for being here, Dr. Timothy Gay, and I mean this. If you love football, the physics of football, it doesn't sound like you go, oh, well, what am I? It is, I mean, things like when the famous linebacker Dick Butkus would hit a running back, you said he would hit them with the force of a small killer whale.
Yeah.
Now, do most linebackers, when they hit a running back, hit them with the force of a small killer whale, or, yeah?
It's when you're watching the game of football, you're basically watching classical physics in action, and you can calculate using Newton's second law. You can calculate the force of a big hit. So a big linebacker and a big running back, say 220 pounds, running at each other, full tilt, collide, fall to the ground. That force is something like 3/4 of a ton.
Is that mass times weight equals energy? I apologize that I've forgotten my physics, but is that what is the formula?
The formula in Newton's second law says that the force is equal to the mass times the acceleration. And the thing is, those accelerations in a big hit are very large, 3-4 G's, and what that means is that you just have to have a huge force to stop you. The reason you don't die is because it's applied sort of over your whole body, and it's applied for only a short amount of time. So this is why you may get a concussion, but you're probably not going to die.
It would kill a guy. I mean, I'm 155 pounds. It would kill. I mean, I used to weigh 190, and I would take a hit and I would get up. But I don't know that at 155, I might die from being. I mean, I probably got hit by guys 250 or 260 in my life, and there weren't that many of them, as you know. You were probably one of the biggest guys in your whole league,
yeah,
right?
I was certainly the biggest guy on the team. I probably wasn't the biggest guy in the league, but I was certainly the biggest guy on the team. And that was another interesting thing. I was both the quickest and the slowest guy on the team, meaning that I had a lot of muscle. I could fire off. I had a quick acceleration. I could get off the ball quick, but I had next to no athletic ability, so I couldn't run very fast. So I was both the quickest and the slowest guy they had, which is what my coach yelled at me on numerous occasions.
Now, wait a second. When you were in this high school and you were the manager of the team and you were a huge guy, I'm surprised that they didn't say, let's get that manager guy and put him in the line.
Yeah, that's,
and with your last name being Gay, I would have made you a defensive tackle to get all that anger out of you from being bullied and called names.
That's right. Of course, back in 1968, Gay meant happy or something like that. But,
really?
Yeah, I got teased a lot, but it only took the turn it would have today about in the 80s or something.
Let me ask about Bill Belichick. So you knew him when he was 18, let's say, right?
Yeah,
you knew him for
19,
a year.
Yeah, I knew him for
19.
Knew him for 1 year. Yeah.
And he was the quarterback.
No, he was a center.
Really?
Yeah, he played center. He started at center.
And he was a good player. Our quarterback was a guy named Milt Holt, who ended up playing for Harvard, and then went on to be a state senator in Hawaii. He was actually a Hawaiian, and I think he did time in some federal prison for bribery or something later. But
how big is Bill Belichick? Because he looks so small on the sidelines. But
he was, he was kind of. I would say he was. My memory is that he was about 5'9", 5'10", and probably at that time he was probably 180 pounds or something. He was, he was solid.
It's funny. I have a son that's that little taller, a little bigger than that. And when I coached, I made him a center. And to me, center is the most. I love those guys. The center is always really smart. He has to know everybody's plays and yours, and he protects you.
Yes.
He takes care of you, and he runs the offensive line. Usually. So it is a position. A lot of offensive linemen are smart, but it is a position for a guy that would be a coach. Did you ever see him, or did you ever look at him and think, that Bill Belichick, that center, he's a cheater? Did you ever think that? He's a cheater.
Never thought that.
Never.
What I thought was that Bill Belichick is going to be an important guy in football. Because, we all, like when we were seniors, we had to write, a final paper or, some kind of capstone project to graduate. And, I was writing a paper about atomic physics, and he was writing a paper, he was breaking down film.
Wow.
I don't remember what film he was, but, he would sit there with a mutual friend of ours, Ernie Adams, who's now on the staff for the Patriots, and they would break down film, and they were clearly guys that were totally focused on the game, and he had a reputation even, as a 19-year-old as being a guy that really knew football, which is not terribly surprising given his dad's, avocation.
Right. Well, Dr. Gay, so we say here's some other interesting things from the book. When a person kicks the football, you have figured out what is the poundage of pressure that's going against a kicked football?
Well, you've got a force of about it's something of the order of 500 or 600 pounds. I mean, you develop a very significant force, and the ball is completely deformed, so the pressure probably doubles in the ball when you kick it. That's actually an interesting issue that came up during Deflategate. Was why would they want the balls to be deflated? What's the advantage? The main advantage, of course, is that they're easier to hold on to, and so that especially when the game conditions are marginal, that would make a difference. But the other thing is I'm speculating because there have been no studies done on this, but if you have a slightly deflated ball, your kicking accuracy is going to go up if you practice with deflated balls, because there's more contact area between your foot and the ball. The ball just, crumples better and fits around your foot better, and so you've got more control over where the ball is going to go. That's got to be an awfully marginal effect, though, and it does lower the ball's distance. So
yeah, I was going to say that when I throw a fully filled NFL ball to, I believe is it 13 pounds of pressure?
Yeah, 13 is the average. You can go up to 13.5. Right.
And it's really hard. And I'm going to tell you, you get hit with a completely inflated, any kind of football, but with a completely inflated NFL ball, it really hurts.
Yeah.
And it's like a rock. And if you give me one that's a little deflated, let's say it's down to 11 or whatever, sure, I can hold it better, but I can't spiral it as well as I normally could. And I never can throw it as far. So Tom Brady, here's another question. Would the referees have noticed, because they got two different teams' balls, they say that the Colts balls were fully inflated and then the Patriots weren't. Would the referees have not felt the difference?
See, it turns out that, 1 or 2 pounds out of 14 sounds like a big deal, but in fact, it turns out to be really hard to distinguish. They did an experiment actually, when all this was really hitting the news, and a guy in Boston went around and handed people balls that were at 13 pounds and balls that were 11 pounds, and they couldn't tell the difference. There was one guy out of about 50 that said, I think the 11-pound ball is deflated, but he wasn't quite sure. So it's hard to tell just by squeezing them, you got to put a gauge in there to check.
Yeah, so the ones that I've thrown that were deflated, now you're making me think they must have been, you have one laying around the garage and you don't have a needle and you say, oh, let's just throw this one. It might have been down to 9 pounds or something, right? Or something like that.
Keep in mind that even, and this is where a lot of experts got it wrong when they were talking to him during Deflategate, is that even a ball that is completely deflated, that's lying there like a puddle on your garage floor, even that has 14.7 pounds of air in it, pushing out against the atmospheric pressure pushing in. It's just got no overage. It's the overage beyond 14.7 or atmospheric pressure that blows up the ball.
I don't understand that. If the ball is fully inflated at 13 pounds, how can a deflated ball it has 14 pounds of pressure going against it, is what you're saying?
No, atmospheric pressure is 14.7, and a completely deflated ball still has that much pound pressure in it, and both inside and outside. But you see there, the pressure outside equals the pressure inside, and so there's nothing to try to keep the ball blown up. So you have to add extra. So the pressure inside a football is greater than atmospheric pressure by the amount that you read on the gauge.
That's kind of why when you're in a shower, the shower curtain goes towards you because the pressure has been changed by the water falling, right?
Exactly.
Wow. Boy, I tell you what, I certainly do remember a little of my physics, and I'm shaken here speaking to Dr. Timothy Gay, the author of the Physics of Football. So when you saw all this happening, and they said 11 out of 12 balls were deflated, and yet the Colts say all of theirs were completely inflated properly, and then they found one, and the guy felt that it was different and everything else. Did you think, oh, somebody was fooling with those balls? Did you think that? That is sort of, there are sort of two obvious possibilities. One is that a ball boy who knew what to do snuck in and deflated the balls. That's possible. I don't know of any forensic evidence that the NFL, to help Tom Brady out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just, that's a possibility.
You're stuttering.
So the other possibility,
and you're a big fan of Bill Belichick's. You're stuttering.
I am.
And they say the NFL put the thing in. I got to get you good now. Put the thing in there and made it 13 pounds. And so the ref said we knew all the balls were 13 pounds.
So what if the Colts had 13.5 to start, which is legal, and the Patriots had 12.5 to start? They fill them up in a warm locker room. That's totally legal. Everything's okay. They now take them outside where the average game temperature was 49 degrees. They take them outside. The balls are going to deflate by about 1.3 pounds. So that brings the Patriots below legal limit and has the Colts just at the legal limit on the low side. So that would explain it too.
Okay. Are you a professor still to this day? Are you?
They haven't fired me yet.
Where are you teaching?
At the University of Nebraska. I teach physics at the University of Nebraska.
Did you have classes and that took up? I mean, how sometimes you've got, I don't know what, you've got a teacher and then something happens in the news and whatever you were going to talk about goes out the window. How many days did you spend on Deflategate, and was that a fun way to deal with physics in your classroom?
It was a lot of fun. I never did it in the classroom. We were talking about things really unrelated to the ideal gas law, but a lot of students came up and we had some good times talking about it, and I was explaining it to them. So it's still a teachable moment, even if you're not talking about it directly in the classroom. I just wish it had happened in the early fall when I normally would have been talking about it.
And when a tackle or somebody fires off the line and the two big giant guys hit each other, what sort of physics are happening? What sort of mass and power and accelerations going on there between those two?
So the thing maybe one thing that is important to note is that players in the NFL are getting bigger and faster, and that's a truism that everybody knows. But it turns out the energy that they expend in any given play, if you just sum up all the energy that's expended in any given play on the line of scrimmage, has basically doubled in the last 80 years. So players are getting faster, they're getting heavier, And
so they're twice as their
energy
fast, their energy is twice what it was 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
No, if you go from 1920 to about 2010, so what? 80, 90 years.
Right.
And if you take into account the increase in mass, which is significant, that's about 50%. The average NFL lineman has gone from 190 pounds to about 300 pounds, something like that.
Wow.
The speed has gone up by about 10% in that same time, so speed hasn't gone up as much. You combine those into the physics quantity kinetic energy, which tells you how much energy is getting dumped into the pit on any given play, and that's essentially doubled in that period from 1920 to 2010. And so,
what about in the future? I mean, do you think that it's like the 4-minute mile almost, but is it in the future? These kids are getting bigger, faster. Does it stop at some point? I mean, because somebody will die eventually.
And I'll tell you, Jay, the thing that's really concerning is you say, well, why haven't there been more deaths like there used to be? And the answer is the helmets have gotten a lot better. But, the pads that we used to wear in the 70s, those have pretty much gone away. Players don't like them. They say the pads are slowing me down. So that
your pads and my pads were gigantic.
Yeah,
we had those big, huge pads. Yeah,
much bigger. Now, I mean, you take you remember the knee pads you used to wear. I mean, they look like tea doilies now. I mean, it's
I don't know why they don't like the pads on their legs. It looks like to me, wide receivers and defensive backs are being struck almost on their skin. There's almost no padding.
Yeah.
I couldn't have handled that. That would have hurt. I had a big thigh pad. I had a big knee pad.
Yep.
And now these guys look like they're just getting a helmet right on their legs.
Yeah. And concussions are big now. And, one of the things they think are really causing an increase in concussions is acceleration, rotational acceleration of the neck. Well, what damps that down? Answer, horse collars. Horse collars are crucial for linemen to be wearing them, and they don't wear them anymore because they don't like, how it affects their peripheral vision. They don't like that it makes their neck not able to turn as quickly. And that's got to be responsible for a significant number of injuries that would not have happened had they been wearing horse collars.
I think that football is much more enjoyable when the tackling, in which they've gone back to, is the form tackle with the shoulder on the mass of the body and the head on one side. The games have been much better and the tackling is better. When I would see a guy lead with his head, I used to go, what is that?
Yeah.
And the odds are you're going to miss the tackle anyway because your head's a lot smaller than the mass of your body. I have a question about MMA fighting as opposed to boxing. For years, people have said that your bare knuckles or your feet or whatever are less dangerous than a prize fighter with a gloved hand hitting you in the head. What is the physical story of that?
That's an interesting question. I can certainly tell you that if you take, you throw a haymaker at a guy, and hit him in the jaw, the force that he's going to feel and the force that you're going to feel consequently is going to be bigger if you're not wearing the glove. The glove actually lowers the force because it extends the period of the collision. So it's just like wearing, big pads. That's why pads work too. So I'm not sure I understand. I've not heard that statement before that, I mean, maybe if you're holding back, because, it hurts like hell when you hit somebody.
Well, more boxers have died than MMA, UFC fighters.
Yeah.
And I was talking to somebody and they said, well, maybe when you have a gloved hand, you actually hit harder and you're pummeled more often. And it begins to hurt your ungloved hand, or they have a little bit of a glove on.
Well, the other thing is possibly, I'm just speculating, but you got gloves on, those weigh something, and it does, mean you can't throw the fist quite as fast with the glove on, but again, you'd think that would make it less dangerous, not more dangerous. So,
right.
Got to think about that. I mean, but they dictated the use of gloves early on because of boxing injuries. So you wonder, you wonder what it's like compared to back in the days of Jack Johnson. So.
Well, they fought for 100 rounds in Cuba in 100-degree weather until the last guy couldn't get up. And you think about that, and maybe the rounds were shorter. I don't know, but they would fight for hours, and go on and on and on. And so it seems like those guys could beat the hell out of anybody that's fighting today. 3 minutes or whatever, and it's
Johnson
over.
boxed for a long time. He had a long storied career, and now you look at boxers today they last 10, 15 years, I guess, if they're good. But
Dr. Timothy Gay, The Physics of Football, a great read. Now I'm going to take a couple of calls, but you have to understand something, Doctor. Idiots listen to me, idiots, and they're attracted somehow to me because I'm a semi-idiot. So I'm going to ask you for your forgiveness prior to the first phone call, okay?
You are forgiven.
All right. Let's go to David of Connecticut. Yes, David, Dr. Timothy Gay is here from Nebraska now, but Caltech, and we've been talking about the physics of football. Yes, David, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Holy shit, Jay. Well, I'm an orthopedist, so first let me say I hope I don't end up being one of the idiots who's one of your callers, but having said that, this was a great get. Dr. Gay, it's a pleasure to speak to you. I am going to go buy your book. Fascinating segment. I don't know where to start. Number one, I had a roommate. I went to Bates, which is one of the schools that plays Wesleyan, and my roommate was from Phillips Academy, Andover. So you truly are a rocket scientist, Dr. Gay, because my roommate used to type his math assignments.
Wow.
That's number one. Number two, Caltech, I don't know if Jay knows this, is one of the top 5 engineering programs in the country. So
yes, I was turned down by them 8 times. I know them very well. 8 times. I just wanted to be a janitor there. I wasn't even. Yeah. No. And you're really an orthopedist, or you're just a truck driver that's pretending you're a doctor? We have a lot of that too.
Gee, I don't know how to prove it, Jay. You could probably ask me a few anatomy questions, but yes, I'm an orthopedist.
After they took my ACL out, and they put an Achilles tendon in there. What did they attach it to, Dr. David?
Achilles? No. Did they take your patellar tendon, or did they take your tendon?
No, they used an Achilles tendon of a cadaver.
Oh, that's an old repair, Jay. We now take a segment of the patellar tendon out for the transfers. We don't use Achilles tendon.
All right. You're a doctor. What's your question? What's your question?
Well, and also, Dr. Gay is being far too modest, because for somebody to graduate from Caltech and play D1 football, that's no small task. They may not have had a great record, but I played soccer and lacrosse at my undergraduate school, which is D3, and so I'll make that comment. And also, physics almost kept me out of medical school, so I bow to Dr. Gay.
Well, I told you, Dr. Gay, that an idiot would call us, even though he is a doctor. I wouldn't let this guy work on my cat.
The doctor is being very kind, but, he gave Caltech a promotion. Caltech was D3, so
yes.
It's only got 700 undergrads.
I don't interview anybody that is more than D3 on this show. I don't interview anyone. So, David of Connecticut, thank you. Dr. Gay, thanks a lot. Let's go to Greg, who's in California. Yes, Greg, a question for Dr. Gay, the physicist. All right, get rid of him. That's one of my idiot listeners there. By the way, if you put helium in a football, like in the old movie Flubber or whatever that was, what would that do to a football if you put helium in it?
Well, you think about it, and hang time when you punt is good, right? I mean, think about it. The Goodyear blimp certainly has great hang time. So if we put helium in a ball, that ought to really stay up there for a while. Well, it turns out that's wrong, and the reason is that if which goes further when you throw it with the same speed, a regular baseball or a wiffle ball? Well, the answer is the baseball, because it's got more mass to keep going. That's Newton's first law. And so taking air out of a ball and putting helium in instead essentially makes the ball lighter, so it's slowed down more readily by the air drag. So it turns out that a ball filled with helium stays up about a tenth of a second less on a say a 60-yard punt than does a ball filled with air. So you got to be careful with some of this stuff.
Well, what about if you mixed air with helium, like a little bit, as a way to cheat?
It turns out that the weight difference, and there was a lot of confusion in Deflategate about this. You say, well, the ball went from 13 pounds to 11 pounds, so it's 2 pounds lighter. That's not true. The ball pressure went from 13 pounds per square inch to 11. But the point is, when you fill a ball with helium instead of air, it only weighs about a tenth of an ounce less. So the effect is very, very small and doesn't give you really any more lift. A number of teams who are interested in cheating have tried it, and it didn't help them.
Let's go to Sean, who's in Maryland. Sean, Dr. Gay is with us. Get the book, The Physics of Football. Yes, Sean, go ahead.
My question was about the boxing, the MMA question you had. My understanding always was that the reason the boxing glove protects the hand so that you could hit harder with the glove on, you can hit with more force than if you did the same punch without a glove.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing, but Dr. Gay, you didn't seem to know. I've always heard the same thing, Sean, that it's a gloved hand and that you were doing more damage. But Dr. Gay, you don't know, you don't have any evidence of that, is what.
So the other thing that might be going on there is the fact that a gloved hand weighs more than a naked hand. So if you can get it moving at the same speed, you then got more momentum, which can do more damage upon impact. But the other thing to keep in mind is that whenever you've got padding like that, it's going to lower the force, and that's going to typically, it lowers injuries, which I think is why they instituted boxing gloves to begin with. So it's kind of a complicated problem.
Okay.
Thank you, Doc.
All right. Thank you very much. And finally, about Marielle of Alberta on line 3. Yes, go ahead. Line 3.
No, it's Mario. And now, Doctor, there's a girl on the show named Christina, and I was wondering about I've never seen her fight, but I'd sure like to see her box. Like you were talking about.
All right, get rid of him. I told you, Dr.
You were right, Jay. You were right.
Yeah, thank you. That's the end of this interview because you and I are the only ones that are really interested in it. That's what's so sad about us. Timothy Gay's book is The Physics of Football. It's really fun to have you on, and crazy that you knew Bill Belichick when he was, 19 years old. So it's a two-pronged interview. And you're there in Nebraska. Why did you leave California?
Well, I left California to go to grad school. Went to grad school in Chicago, and then went east to Yale for a couple of years, and then fetched back up here.
Okay. All right, man. Thanks very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Jay. I appreciate it, too.
All right.
The Jay Thomas Show.
We're so lonely and bored here.
The Jay Thomas Show. Afternoons.
Sirius XM. Indy.
I've talked about all the homeless under bridges and stuff in New Orleans and a lot of places. And I saw the other day that I forget what city it is, but they're putting up what looks like parking meters. And it says if you want to give money to the homeless, don't give it to them in the street. Put it in this parking meter thing. And the money will go to the shelters. And these homeless men and women, they say, oh, the shelters are bad or whatever. I think most of them are absolutely, totally full of shit. And a lot of them are mentally ill, and they're walking around talking to themselves or talking to some imaginary person. And if you read any of the trilogy of the books, Ironweed, which I think Jack Nicholson did the movie of, you'll see that in that book they really do explain. It's kind of about a real family from Albany, New York, and they won the Pulitzer Prize and all that stuff. The guy really sees people. He's really talking to someone. So I've seen people yelling and screaming and walking down the street, and apparently there is a person there that they're talking to. They're right there. They think they see them or they hear them or whatever. In New Orleans, it says here, and I've been sent this by a bunch of folks at jthomasshow@gmail.com, New Orleans becomes the first U.S. city to find homes for all of its homeless veterans. And they show a guy on the street, with the bag, with the sleeping bag, and he's got a hat on that says he's the veteran of some ship or something. Well, they sell these hats. You've seen them, right, Christina? They sell them in the stores. I think the first thing they'll have to do is find out what percentage of these people really are veterans. Because I don't believe them. I don't believe it at all. And he says that New Orleans has housed all known veterans. I don't know where they're housing him or what they're doing, but they ought to have a percentage. I bet it's low. I bet it's, they say there was 225 homeless veterans in New Orleans. That I might believe. But they got to get their names and all that. They say that in Chicago there's over 700. In L.A. there's over 1,500 and close to 4,000 in New York. But just because you wear that stupid hat that says you fought in the war, and they ought to have that rule that when you pretend you're a soldier, they used to have this one, that's against the law. It's not against the law anymore. When you pretend you're a soldier, say you fought for the country or won something or other. People are wondering if Brian Williams, I guess he's just going to keep broadcasting. I don't know. Someone's asked me. I think he's just going to keep staying on the air. What's he going to do?
I think so. I think he'll still broadcast, and I'm sure, we just need another thing to happen in the news for everybody to forget about this and move on.
That's right.
It's like we're monkeys. We swing from one tree to the other.
We're like monkeys that swing from one tree to another. Right. And what it does is it covers up some other thing so you're just lucky if you get in trouble the same day that Brian Williams, who's a bigger name than you are, gets in trouble.
Right. Like, I think, wasn't it, what was happening in the news where Bill Cosby kind of got away with something because something else, I don't even remember what it was. That's how quickly.
Something else. You're exactly right.
Was it ISIS? Probably.
ISIS.
Yeah.
ISIS was
something terrible
people.
Was happening, and everybody just suddenly forgot about Bill Cosby.
This is more important.
Right. It's like what happened with Ebola?
That's right.
We have no idea.
That's right.
Ebola's not even an issue anymore. Who cares?
Yeah.
Well, we had like 9 cases of Ebola in the United States. I've seen a list, and they showed all the other diseases. The flu is 4,000, and this is, and how about the idiots who don't want to get vaccinations? We've got close to 100 cases of measles that had been completely wiped out in California because we have this thing, and Mississippi doesn't have it. They make everybody get a vaccination, and I believe there's only a few states that make you, when you're a kid. Do you remember this, Christina and Medina? You had to give in these, you had to have all your paperwork.
The measles, mumps, and rubella.
I remember.
Yeah.
The MMRs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All that stuff. My kids have the HPV virus vaccination. Have you had that one?
No, when that
if you're single,
we're too old.
Yeah, when that came out, they specifically said that we were too old by that time because we were over the age of 20. I mean, I was like 30 when that was a thing.
So you can't have that. Right.
It doesn't matter.
Well, anyway, so now there are people, I was reading today, they're taking their kids out of school. They're going to homeschool them in Mississippi. Can you imagine that? The average, inhabitant of Mississippi homeschooling. 2 plus 2. I'll get back to you on that. It'll take them a week to figure that shit out. They showed some horrifying woman. Her religion doesn't allow vaccinations. That might be Scientology. They don't like psychiatry. I don't know what religion. I know Jehovah's Witnesses don't believe in transfusions.
Or birthdays.
Because
Ooh.
There's some little stupid thing in the Bible that they believed. But
This is my
vaccination.
This is my take on vaccination. I agree with certain vaccinations that don't necessarily need to be done, but things like the measles, mumps, rubella, the reason why measles is making such a comeback is because there's a generation of people that aren't having the vaccination required, like they're refusing it. That's why it's spreading again, because they're not having it. But stuff like the flu virus, for example, this past flu vaccine that they had out, usually vaccines for the flu cover up to 4 to 5 different strains that are going to be the most popular for that season. So you could still get other strains that are not within that vaccine. It just depends on what you get. But this specific one that was just given, something was kind of wrong with it, or, don't quote me on it, but it wasn't actually being effective. That's why a lot more people, even though they had the flu vaccine, were still getting the flu.
Mm.
Well, yeah, the flu is a different deal with the measles and all, and mumps. My uncle got the mumps when he was a grown-up, and I was a little kid, and I had the mumps. And I remember the fear they had was that the mumps in a grown-up would go down to your testicles, and you would be sterile or something bad would happen, and your balls would get really big. So the mumps was like a, I had chicken pox. I never had measles. I had chicken pox. I had the mumps.
I never had the chicken pox. Never got it.
And then I got vaccinated. Mm-hmm. You probably won't get herpes then.
No, I won't get shingles.
People with chicken pox or shingles. That's a herpes.
I don't think it has anything to do with herpes.
That's a different strain of different herpes altogether.
No, it does.
It's herpes varicella. There's different kinds of forms of herpes.
Oh, that's right. You're the fucking nurse. You're the fucking nurse. Jesus Christ. Why don't you go give yourself a transfusion and force it on a... Oh, by the way, did you read about the woman, the girl? They forced her to have chemotherapy, but the reason she didn't want it wasn't religious or anything. She didn't want to look bad. But if she didn't have it, she was going to die. Did you read about her? She didn't want to lose her hair and get skinny and look sick. And I'm reading this thing going, you're going to die. They forced her. I don't know how you do that. How you hold someone down in a chemo chair? I don't know how you put the needle in them. I don't know. Let's go to Mandy, who is in Washington, D.C. Yes, Mandy. Is it Washington, D.C. or Washington State?
D.C., Jay.
Yeah.
Love your show. I don't know if you've been hearing about the Conrad Hilton thing with him on the plane. And
Conrad Hilton, is that the son?
Yesterday.
That the son of the daddy, the old dad, but which many people don't realize is that the Hilton girls are going to be or are in their own right worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars from their family, and then Conrad is what, their dad?
No, the brother, the Paris Hilton's brother.
Yeah.
The brother acted up on an airplane. He smoked pot in the bathroom. He called normal people on the plane peasants. He said to the stewardesses, "I will own you. I will have your jobs in 5 minutes." And he threatened to kill them. And my question is, why are some people so untouchable? Is it just the money? Like, why can Reverend Al Sharpton owe the IRS $4 million and continue to prattle on like he does? Is it
Al Sharpton has made a deal with the IRS, and they do let you pay and everything else. I don't think he gets a break, but of course the papers say he does. No, but the IRS can't wait to arrest famous people, and the FBI too. They love arresting them. So if he hadn't made a deal, and I believe he has made a deal, it might be from the state of New York. Definitely, if he was really hadn't paid and was illegally not paying, they'd love putting his ass in jail. Conrad Hilton will get out of it. But he got arrested, and
he'll go to rehab, and then Daddy will take care of the rest. And if you or I had done that, we'd be in the slammer.
No, if we had money, we'd go to rehab. If we had enough money to get out of jail, we'd go to rehab. But that's,
And then, like Bill O'Reilly with the Fafula thing, when he said to the girl, "Put the Fafula thing up your pussy." I mean, really, did you read that?
No, not the Fossil. What is that? That's a
loofah.
Loofah. Put the loofah up your pussy. Well, that's not against the law. Put a loofah in your pussy.
But he was kind of harassing her.
What was he saying? A falafel? He wanted to put a falafel in her pussy because he didn't know what a loofah was. You know that I read, I don't know if it's true or not, but I read reports that he's so important to Fox News, they paid her a multiple of millions of dollars for that to go away because he's so important to Fox.
Yes, about 25. And I read the whole transcript, and he said to her on a date one time, "I am so powerful that nobody will be able to touch me."
Wow.
But I still watch him.
I don't think she got 20.
Jay.
You love him? I don't think. So he likes, like I'm saying, there's a me that's not on the air, and there's a me that's on the air, and I'm sure that's true of Bill O'Reilly. Bill O'Reilly, started as a local newsman somewhere, and then didn't he do a show kind of like, not Entertainment Tonight, but
like
he was on one. He did a current affair and stuff. Yeah. And then they become that Bill O'Reilly. You know? I mean, that's all. Yeah. He's not the other guy. Don't be disappointed. It's okay. So Conrad gets out of trouble. You know, he'll be all right. All right. Thank you, Mandy. Don't worry about it. Marco of Connecticut. Yes, Marco, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Well, we're totally off the subject now, but I was homeless for 4 months. And
what made you homeless? What made you homeless?
Divorce in Connecticut, actually, if you want to know the truth.
It was so bad that your wife got so much money and the child support and everything else. The next thing you know, you wake up one morning, can't pay the rent, and you're living under a bridge.
Yeah, I was making $1,500 a week and bringing home $300 for myself. I mean, I couldn't live.
Where did you sleep? Did you go to a shelter? What was that like?
No, so this is what I'm saying. So I was like totally amazed. You cannot believe the stuff. Everything that was given to me. It was just like handing me new clothes, new this, and feeding me. I was waiting to suffer. Like, there was no suffering. I gained 15 pounds being homeless. I swear to God. So much stuff.
If I was near you right now, I would hug you. You could have told me any number of things that you were going to say. I did not think you were going to say that when you were homeless, you gained 15 pounds and they overfed you. Now, where would you go to get the food? Like Ira, would you go to a synagogue or did you go to a church or something?
It was just like everywhere. There's just so much stuff that is handed to you. I just can't believe it. New clothes, new pants, new shoes, new boots, and just I can't tell you.
Is this just exclusive to Connecticut?
Yeah,
no. No, but it isn't exclusive because I really do believe him. The weird thing is, Marco, is like in New York, you know, and it's all Skid Row everywhere, you know, like on the Bowery or wherever you live, there's a Skid Row. Those people are so fucked up by drugs or booze, they just can't get up to go get all the free shit, right?
That's my point. My point being, they make it so easy. Like these people are. I'm in my 50s. I mean, I'm fine. You know, I'm all back and everything else. But they make it so weird. Like there's no reason for them. It's better for them to stay where they are because everything's handed to them. It's just
right. Now, did they give you one of those Obama cell phones? I had 2 cell phones. I had everything. I could not believe it.
2 cell phones, he said.
Holy shit!
Are you like a good-looking guy? Like what?
You know what, Marco? Are you a good-looking guy, Marco?
Would you stop yourself?
Yeah.
You're a good-looking man. So you need to. I'm not joking. You need to sit down and write a book with your picture on the cover of when you were homeless. Do you have any selfies of you as a homeless person?
That you took with one of your 2 phones?
You were lucky because they said you're not homeless. I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to tell people. You don't believe it. I mean, I got haircuts for free. Everything. I worked hard my whole life. I really pissed off. Like, all this stuff's for free. I busted my ass. I mean, I own my own home. I own my own business. I had everything. It's just, I could not.
Now, when you went around your family, did you act downtrodden? I mean, you didn't say, "Oh, I'm homeless."
Nobody knew I was homeless. Nobody.
Oh, okay. Where would you sleep at night? Where did you bed down?
In my car, behind Home Depot.
So you'd sleep in the car, and did you cry yourself to sleep a lot of nights?
What's that?
Did you cry yourself to sleep?
Yeah. Well, of course. I mean, yeah. I had Hoggies. I had all. You know, I had everything. I owned my own restaurant for 10 years. It's
right.
Crazy how fast that could happen to you. But anyway.
Yeah, and you're saying that there are services available for people.
Oh my God! I could not believe it. I just could not believe it.
You need to write. I'm not joking. If you wrote a book, you would be on every television show, and you would talk about being homeless, and the right wing would love you, the left wing would talk to you also, and it's pretty amazing. Your story's unbelievable, and I would have you on as a guest to talk about. Now, what about now? You're back paying taxes, and you're back on your feet again. Everything's okay.
Yeah, fine.
You know what? Because you were homeless, I'm going to give you a $50 gift certificate for Sherry's Berries. What do you think of that?
No, you give it to somebody else that really needs it.
No. I want to give it to you. I want to give it to you.
I don't want it.
No, you want to give it to one of your homeless girlfriends? Maybe you have a girlfriend that's homeless?
I have a homeless girlfriend.
Did you ever get laid? Did you ever get laid by another homeless woman? Yeah. Did you have a girlfriend? Y'all would push that cart together? You'd have those matching shopping carts? Yeah.
I'm telling you, it's really not like that.
Yeah. What a happy homeless story, Marco. Happy home. You need to buy like a veteran's hat.
Here's the thing, too. There were so many solid girls that could not believe.
Jay Thomas Show. Every day something new, something bizarre. For you, for now. The Afternoon Drive Show. On Indy. Sirius XM. Indy.
From his CD, I Diddle Boys. Here he is. Oh, I used to say that when I was a DJ. Huge fucking trouble I would get into. Oh yeah. Boy diddler. Yeah. You walk into his room and there's a complete, what do you call that, Medina? The equipment that you use for anesthesia. Needles, machines. There must be some names for that stuff. You being the registered nurse.
Which machine specifically?
I don't know. Just give me the name of. No. To put you to sleep before the operation.
Oh, it's the medicine.
The anesthesia.
Yeah. What would that be? Yeah, big anesthesia machine, and you'd look into Michael Jackson's room and go, "Have a good rest, Daddy." And he would shoot himself up with whatever. They put that guy in jail, didn't they? The doctor? Did he go to jail?
Yeah, and they delicensed him.
Yeah. Jay Thomas Show at Gmail. Bob says they reran your cold case this morning. Laughable the way that Danny Pino threw you around and was beating you up.
I love Danny Pino.
And they did a believable job of having a younger actor play you from 20 years earlier. No, they didn't. That guy was tall and handsome. And I remember saying to that guy, shit, if I looked like you when I was younger, I would be getting laid 24 hours a day. But a lot of people were matched. He said, you're lucky that they didn't have Catherine Morris rough you up. I remember I was about 185 or whatever, and Danny Pino's throwing me around. He's a nice guy. And by the way, he got on that show, and then he's on Special Victims Unit. Yeah. We're talking about he's made so much money, he is so rich, that his grandchildren won't have to work. That's how rich he is.
And he married his high school or his college sweetheart or something, and they're still together.
He's got kids. He's married to her. You're right. I know all the story. And then he gets to Hollywood. He does a few things, and then he gets on this show. Now he's getting on this thing. He is like a guy that has stepped into golden shit, and he's a nice fella, and it's stuck to his boot. But I do remember him throwing me around the room, and I'm all scared of him, and he goes, I don't think I could do this in real life. Aww. And there were wrestlers there, too, and he was get beaten, and I said, yeah, no, you would be throwing me around. I hit you with a fucking chair. Phil was a good guy. You know what? And then you wonder, would he have married his high school sweetheart if he knew how successful he was going to be?
Well, maybe. I mean, Matt Damon just married some random waitress, so yeah.
Sure. Yeah, but he had already made it.
Right, but I'm saying, anything's possible.
No, but he'd already screwed everybody in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Poor Jennifer Aniston. So everybody stops by her vagina before they get married. Huh. I'll let that one settle in. Let it settle in. Well, same thing with Kate Hudson. They stopped by her vagina for a while before they settled in with someone. She's gotten divorced, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They marry these rock guys. Why?
Why not? They're all in the industry, so it's all, they could just do whatever they want. They want to get married, then tomorrow they want to get divorced. Oh, well, this is Hollywood. It's fine.
That's why Matt Damon married a waitress. So when he comes home, his waitress wife, who's used to, taking, change off of tables at a diner. He walks through the door. She goes, "Holy shit, Matt Damon." "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm married to him." She forgot she was married to him. Yeah. You got to marry somebody that thinks it's a big deal that you're home. You don't want to marry someone that's a bigger deal than you. Let's say I married some actress, and when she comes home, your friend's going, "Holy shit. Yeah, that's your wife? I've seen her on shows and stuff." You don't want that. You don't ever want the needle to go too far on their side, Christina.
You sound very...
You always want to go to a party. Hey, what about when your boyfriend takes you to things? You got a radio gal with him.
So what? Yeah, he's proud of me. You sound really...
Of course he is. You're like wearing a Fitbit.
What is that supposed to mean?
You're like a thing on your arm where you brag, "Well, I'm so fit, I need this special watch." Wow, what's that thing? Yeah, look at Christina. Let's go to Bob of Boston. Yes, Bob, what do you think of that? We had a guy on that knew Bill Belichick when he was in high school. How about that one?
It's pretty impressive. I never knew Bill Belichick when I was in high school.
No, you didn't. What can we do, Bob? Bob of Boston.
Hey, how come one of the things no one's ever brought up, when you go to inflate a football, you push the needle in, but before you do that, you have to wet it, with your saliva.
Sure.
Otherwise, when you take the needle out, it's going to leak. How do we know the ball just didn't leak slowly, and after the game they were down to 10 PSI?
I'll tell you how you know it doesn't leak slowly. You don't know much about it. After you put spit on the needle, you pull the needle out, and to make sure that the air is staying in, let's go around the horn with you, Bob of Boston, Christina and Medina. We're going to go around the horn with the same music from some porno. Medina, how would you check after you licked on the needle and you put it in with your own saliva and filled it up? How would you check that the air wasn't escaping?
You put your finger back over it and feel the air.
Put your finger and see if there's any air coming out of it. Okay. Christina, how would you check?
That's a good answer. I would put it near my eyeball to see if I can feel.
You put it near your eyeball to see if any cold air got in your eyeball.
That's a good one.
Bob, how would you do?
Look for bubbles.
Look for bubbles. Thank you, Bob, very much. You'd look for bubbles. Spit bubbles. That's how you would tell.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, is maybe they put the needle in dry on purpose so that when the refs checked it still had air, but by the time...
All right, get rid of this fucking cheater. Get rid of him. It's a tainted Super Bowl. Cheaters. Let's go to Chuck, who's in Boston. Yeah? You got something to say, cheater Chuck?
Yeah, doing what cheated.
Yeah,
hey,
cheated.
You know why Bill Cosby disappeared out of the limelight?
Why?
Because that was when the movie, the interview came out, and they said they were going to take it out of theaters.
Oh, right.
Such a big
That's
deal.
exactly right. That's right.
Yep. Thank you.
Everyone I know that saw that movie just thought it was okay. I thought it was funny. And it was funny. Just thought it was okay.
You should watch it.
It's made 50. You know what? If I watch it, I have to pay $3 or $5 to watch it.
It's free on the internet. I think it's just streaming.
You know what? I like to watch movies on a really nice sized screen, with sound and everything else. I'm not going to watch a movie on the internet. Yeah, that's what it's like when you're watching, So, did you see it, Chuck? Did you see the interview?
No, not yet.
What do you think, Chuck? You're sitting there and I'm going, what are you thinking while I'm doing that?
Did they let a lunatic on the airwaves?
There you go. That's what I think. Thank you, Chuck of Boston. Let's go to Big Tex from Houston. Yes, Big Tex, it's Jay Thomas. Go ahead.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good.
Your gang, the new girl answer the phone. The show's come along great. Love it. You're doing a good job, boss.
Get rid of him. Get completely rid of him. I don't need any programming tips. I've told you a million times. Don't need to know who's doing well. I don't know any of that. I don't need all of it. The guy that called up was complimenting the doctor. Good God almighty. Oh, he's this, he's great, he did that, he did this. He didn't have a fucking question. All the fucking, how great he is. Let's go to Dave, who's in South Carolina. Now you put me in a bad mood. Go ahead, Dave. I'm just starting to get happy for a minute.
Oh, great.
Go ahead.
I get to face the havoc.
Yeah, be fucking careful is what you got to do right now. Be careful.
Hey, Jay, I'll try to be careful.
Yeah.
You mentioned before that you own property in South Carolina.
Yes.
It doesn't happen to be in York County, does it?
No, I'm on a river somewhere.
Okay.
It happened years ago, and believe it or not, the land was all paid for and everything else. And then there was the collapse of 2008, and we had bought some of it. And I don't know that where the land is. It's actually probably very pretty and everything else, but it's when like vacation houses kind of weren't in vogue, and I still have it, but it's an investment. It's nothing I'm going to go build a house on or anything. And I pay my taxes every year in South Carolina. And then I also own a building there that's rented by people that in Myrtle Beach, they sell butt plugs and oils and nasty videos and all that. So yeah, I have a couple properties there. No, not nothing big, but, and then the guy that runs I don't know, it's not porno. What is it? It's like adult, whatever it is, entertainment or whatever. Yeah. He doesn't want to own the buildings. He just wants to rent. And, banks don't want to own the building. They rent. Did you know that? Banks
No, I didn't know that. No.
I bought a trailer that a bank was in when I was about 22 years old. A guy came to me and he said, "Hey, you know that trailer over by the Cotswold Shopping Center? We can buy that lot with the trailer on it." And I say, "The one that the bank is in, the little, like a satellite thing with a bank." And I go, "Okay." And it was like a couple $100 a month or whatever. And the bank signs like a long-term deal with you, and so they pay the note. And I said, "Okay." I've owned that forever, but it's like 5 banks ago. And then they built the building on the lot. Meanwhile, he and I built and had buildings behind the bank. Our buildings went broke. And we had to sell them at a loss. To this day, the bank, whatever bank it is, has been paying us for years and years and years. And about 3 years ago, he says, "Hey," and the economy was terrible. He said, "Hey, listen, it's time for us to renew the lease on the bank." I said, "Oh my God, the economy is terrible." I said, "What are they paying us?" He goes, "Well, it's like they're paying us like $1,700 a month." I said, "Gee whiz. Well, what do we?" He says, "Well, I think we ought to ask, for like, I don't know, 1,500. Let's go 15." I go, "Okay." I go, "But listen, let them say the number first. In negotiations, you let the other person say the number." So my friend, an accountant, he goes to the bank, and he says, "The lease is running out." And they go, "Yeah." And they pull out some papers. The guy gets on the internet. The woman gets on the internet. She looks like this. She goes, "Okay, this, that, and the other. We'll give you $2,600 a month." He goes, "What?" They had figured out some formula, right? And it was $1,100 a month more than we would have charged them. I'm not kidding you. And he says, "Is that your final offer?" She goes, "Yeah, that's it." So yeah, it's weird. Banks don't like to own anything, and we've had that. So yeah, I buy little pieces of things. Not a lot, but
the reason I asked was, is my grandparents, they read the Inquirer and found out about this ISIS training camp that's in York, South Carolina.
You mean they're training terrorists in New York?
Yes, and actually, if you put it in the Google machine,
I actually own the property. I own the property they're on.
Oh, do you? It's on Islamville Road in York County.
Yeah, I own that.
I'm serious. It's there. If you look it up, it's there. There's all kinds of documents that are actually.
It's not an ISIS training camp. It's a Muslim thing. They moved there years ago or something. They're not. You can't, if they were training fighters there for real, I think they did some stuff or whatever. I think the United States government has the right to shut their asses down.
Have Medina put it in the Google machine.
Why Medina?
Well, yeah, I don't know. I was just going kind of.
You think she might have a couple of relatives?
Well, hey,
you might have a couple of relatives down there that are like, bandaging them,
Bandaging who?
Your tribesmen.
They can get hurt training.
Yeah.
Wait, first of all, I'm going on record here. I'm like so against ISIS. It's unreal. Like,
no kidding.
Yeah, like it's disgusting.
Me too. I'm against Daesh, ISIS, and ISIL. I'm against all of them. But I have heard that a Islamic group was doing something in South Carolina. I don't know if it's on Islamville Road, but I think that you're not allowed to train combatants that are going to fight against the United States. But check on that, would you, Dave? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay.
Let's do Eric of Wisconsin. Yes, Eric, go ahead. We know that you are a dyed-in-the-wool American and that you would only bandage our fighters. All right, Medina? Right.
Hey, Jay, I want to compliment you. That machine gun impression you do, I'm trying to learn how to do it, and I'm having no success.
What machine gun impression? What are you talking about? What?
You do the machine gun, when you do it, it sounds...
Christina, do I do a machine gun impression? I don't remember.
Yeah.
We did this a long time ago where we all tried it, and mine was the most pathetic, obviously, and Garrett.
When I was a little kid and I played Army, I was always really good at making the machine gun noises, and I would also tap on wood and stuff, like to add to it. I go I would make all these and one year there was some show on TV, and it was like a talent show. I made a tape of me making machine gun sound effects and bombs going off, and I was so nervous, and I sent it off, and I never even got a rejection letter from them. They never even sent it back. But I don't remember doing machine guns on the air, but I guess I did.
Yeah, no, we had a whole thing, and you guys made fun of me because mine was so pitiful.
Yeah.
What did Christina and Medina play while we were playing war as little boys? What did the girls do?
Barbies.
Oh, Barbie. Jesus.
Yeah.
Barbie Village.
All right, Eric. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Let's go to Todd, is in Massachusetts. Yes, Todd. Jay Thomas here. Go ahead.
Hey, Jay. It's Cape Todd. I was wondering about this Sherry Shepherd story. Is Barbara Walters, burying this? Nobody's talking about it. Does she have a receipt for this kid, but she could just return it?
That has nothing to do with Barbara Walters.
No, that's over.
Yeah,
Sherry Shepherd is off of that show, and she's been here with us. What's the new scandal, Christina?
So she had put in
wants to return her adopted child, yeah.
But she was never on the birth certificate of the baby. So according to her, it's not her problem. And now this woman...
So who has the baby?
I guess it's the woman that carried the baby, I think, and then also...
The surrogate mom.
Yeah, the surrogate mother, and then also the father of the baby, because it was his sperm.
But now he's getting sued for child support from the original carrying mother.
The ex-husband of Sherry Shepherd gives his sperm to a surrogate.
She didn't have anything to do with it, according to her.
Who didn't?
Sherry. She didn't put in... It was not her egg, and now she's writing it off completely.
But did she want a baby?
When she was married to this guy, I'm sure that she wanted the baby.
Oh, she's going to lose this lawsuit. She's going to lose it.
I feel so bad for the little baby. I mean,
of course. You know what?
Lottery.
No, but you know what? It's really awful. It really is. Of course she wanted the baby, and her marriage breaks up, and now she sticks the surrogate mother with a child from a man who the surrogate has no interest in having a child with.
And she's already in hot water from her ex-husband that she already has a child with, because there's some problems there as well. And I think that I read somewhere that the ex-husband was saying that Sherry, since she's so busy, she doesn't pay any attention to the kid, and the kid's hygiene is all screwed up. And I think
wait a second, does she have a child with the husband?
Yes, yeah. And I think he has special needs.
Child.
I I believe.
She has a special needs child with the husband, so they decided not to have another one for fear something would happen.
This is a different man.
Oh, another guy.
Different man completely, yeah.
And she thought the world was flat.
Yes.
And Jesus Christ, her Lord and Savior, guides her. She doesn't sound very religious to me.
She used to be a Jehovah's Witness, no? And she got one of her parents.
Something or other.
Now she's celebrating.
Todd, I don't know. Todd, you got too much time on your hands, or you give 3 shits about Sherry Shepherd.
Yeah, that's right, Jay. You're the best asshole on the radio, thank you.
I thought that Barbara Walters retired. What is she even in it? What is she doing?
I think she's burying the story. I think they're just friends. They don't talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about it.
Over on that show, The View?
Nobody wants to talk about it anywhere. I think they ran it.
You watch The View? You get up every morning, Todd, and you watch
hell no. I'm just talking about regular news.
Well, don't worry about it. Get rid of this idiot. Get rid of him in his fucking stinky old underwear watching The View every day. What an image. What a horrible image. Let's go to Alex, who's gavel to gavel. We got a gavel to gavel going. Alex, go ahead. Christina, there we go. You got it. Alex, what's going on? What's happening?
The Aaron Hernandez trial has sort of wrapped up for the week. The jury is going on a 4-hour bus trip tomorrow to view the sand and gravel pit, the cell phone towers, and Aaron Hernandez's house.
I didn't know you got field trips as a jury.
Sure you do.
That's cool.
Sure you do. And they give you like a PB&J. They give you a PB&J, applesauce, and I believe you get a soda.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the most interesting thing of the week was they caught a stealth juror and threw her off the case.
What do you mean stealth? What was her problem?
She lied on her questionnaire that she was not a Patriots fan and she knew nothing about the case. And it turned out that she went to the games all the time, and she's been talking about getting on this jury for over a year. And she knew about the evidence that the judge is not letting in.
Wow. Now, who caught her? Who found out about her?
I assume the prosecution found out because they had some state troopers testifying at the hearing. So,
right. And so the thing if they this guy has a chance of getting off, doesn't he, Alex?
A very good chance. The evidence is kind of weak, and when the police came upon the scene, it was a high school kid jogging who found the dead body.
Yeah.
And when the police arrived, it was just a dead black guy laying there, and they trampled all over the scene. They destroyed the evidence.
Are you saying that the police looked upon this dead African American as just another statistic, or they didn't want to take the care they should have taken with the dead body?
Exactly what happened.
Wow.
Exactly. They didn't cover the scene, and it started to rain, and a day later they tried to get impressions of the tires. It was, they just thought it was an everyday dead guy, and it turned out to be an important dead guy.
Right. Now, what about the couple of guys dead in Florida that they're saying Aaron Hernandez may have had something to do with that?
No.
What is that all about? What?
The 2 dead guys are in Boston. That was a drive-by by a nightclub. The guy in Florida actually survived and is suing Hernandez in civil court.
Did he beat him or shoot him? How did he?
He was shot in the face.
Jesus. And he says that Aaron Hernandez pulled the trigger?
Yes.
Well,
there's not enough evidence in Florida to bring a criminal case, so that's just in civil court.
Wow.
The drive-by has weak evidence, and even the drive-by happened before this murder, but they are holding back on trying that because most of the witnesses only saw a gun sticking out the window of a car. They can't really ID him as being...
Do you really say SAR? SAR? The only SAR? You actually say S-A-W-R? Is that how you say that word? SAR?
I meant to say SAW.
Yeah, SAW. Okay.
I may have...
Because I thought maybe you might have had that disease SARS for a moment.
No. And,
but Dina, you remember SARS, don't you? That was one of those infections that could get right in you.
Well, I was
and make you mispronounce the word saw.
I always thought it was SAW.
You're terrible.
Because I'm an idiot. That's right. What'd that guy say? You're the biggest asshole on radio. Well, Alex, here's my question. If Aaron Hernandez is found not guilty, the Patriots have to pay him back all of that money and give him everything he is owed from all of his contracts.
Well, that is very complicated because that money is now is part of a civil lawsuit, and it's going to be held up until the civil lawsuit is decided. The guy in Florida is suing him civilly. Presumably, the family of the dead guy here in this case is going to sue him for wrongful death. So that money has been frozen by the civil court. So
that's the money he already has. But here's another thing. They're firing guys that have been accused of things. And what's weird is I think that you're not supposed to, you're innocent till proven guilty. So how do you lose your contract because you've been accused? That's odd to me.
Well, it's very similar to show business. They have morals clauses in those contracts. And the fact that he got arrested, they say violates the morals clause, and we don't have to keep paying you. So that's what the team's position.
But you're arrested, but anyone could say you did something.
Well, I'm sure he'll get his money if he gets a not guilty. I mean, it's a legal contract, and I assume he would win and get his payoff, and then have to pay off maybe wrongful death suits or shooting the guy in Florida.
Right.
Or
he may get off of this murder deal, right?
Yes, the evidence is really weak, and like one of the pieces of evidence is at the scene where the body was dumped, presumably, they found the remains of a blunt. And on the remains, they got DNA from the victim and DNA from Aaron Hernandez. But that doesn't prove he killed him. That proved he smoked a joint with him.
So he could have smoked the joint, and then somebody comes up and shoots the guy.
The strongest evidence they have comes from his security cameras at his house. They see 4 people leave his house, one being the victim. And then when they return to the house, only 3 guys return on the security footage.
Mm-hmm.
But does that really prove that he killed him? It proves that 4 guys left and 3 guys came back.
Wow.
It's you and I can say, well, that proves something. But I don't think in a court of law that really proves anything.
I'll keep Alex right there. Jim of Massachusetts, why is it you say that Aaron Hernandez doesn't have to be paid, Jim?
Yeah, the Patriots released him. So they released him, they just cut him. So when they cut him, the NFL has contracts that are not guaranteed. So his contract wasn't guaranteed, so they cut him so they don't owe him anything.
So they were just saying we couldn't use him as a tight end anymore?
Correct.
Oh. So that's how they get out of that?
Well, that's why it's in court, and there'll be a trial to see if they had the right to cut him or not.
Right. Because they didn't cut him because he wasn't a good player. They cut him. No, but they cut him because of the court case, because he was a starting tight end, and they could have used him.
It's the same way that the Ravens cut Ray Rice because he punched his wife.
Hey, by the way, to change the subject completely, there's a hockey player out here in California, and a Russian guy, I don't know his name, he beat the shit out of his Russian wife. He beat her, hit her, and supposedly kicked her 8, 9, 10 times, and then slammed her head into the television, and all of this crazy stuff. And then Ray Rice knocks the shit out of his, wife or whatever. These guys marry some tough women. I mean, I don't know that I could take a beating that these women take and survive. It's amazing. It's amazing the beatings that these football players and hockey players and stuff, some of these guys, 300 pounds, beat the piss out of their wife, and the wife's okay. She walks out. It's like, Jesus.
You should see how tough her vagina is.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
Well, maybe the guys are pulling their punches.
You think so?
You would think.
There you go, Alex. Gavel to gavel. Yeah.
Because I know if one of those guys hit me, I'd be down for the count.
Finished. Done. One time. You wouldn't need to kick me 6 more times.
So maybe there is a little humanity underneath the steroids.
That's right. I told you I dated this this woman that had dated a hockey player, and she had this silver tooth in the front. And I said, "How'd you get that silver tooth?" She said, "My fiance was a hockey player." That's what she said to me. And I didn't know what that meant. I didn't know if he knocked her tooth out. She claims that they were having rough sex and her tooth came out. And when we started having sex, you know what terrazzo floors are? Or like she liked to have sex on really hard stone floors. The wrong guy for her. I was the wrong guy. I'm more of a blender, you know. I'm more of a smoother.
Put a pillow down so that you're.
I had to put a towel down. No, I did. I had to put a towel down, and she would, 1 for cleanliness, but 2 to save my knees. All right, Jim of Mass, thanks very much. Alex, thanks for the gavel-to-gavel report. And when are they going to completely seat the jury, and when does all this start? When does it start?
Well, we've just finished the second week of trial, and the trial was supposed to go at least 8 weeks.
Okay.
So, I'd say we have at least 6 weeks to go.
Okay. All right, Alex, thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it.
And he has an excellent defense team.
Right. Hold on 1 second. Let's go to Bill of Kentucky. Bill, you want you want Alex to cover something for you? He's on line 5. Go to line 5. Yes, Bill, go ahead. Yes, sir. What is it?
I was just curious if you're going to cover the Chris Kyle, the killer of Chris Kyle. His case is coming up, I think next week or in a couple weeks.
Alex?
Gee, I recognize the name, but I can't remember the case.
The American
Are you crazy? American Sniper.
Oh, yes. Okay, I got it. I got that. Yes, I am following that case. I'm sorry.
Good God.
I had a little...
God almighty. I thought you'd had a stroke or something. How could you not be following the case? And, the guy, Bill, that shot him, they were helping or whatever, and he's pleaded not guilty. I guess he's insane or whatever. But it's so weird. I mean, he's guilty. So what the fuck? He did it. Everybody knows. He even says he did it. So I guess, Alex, they're just going to try and get him off with insanity or some shit, right?
Well, he was diagnosed with PTSD.
Right.
And PTSD is a defense that works. Your friend, Mickey Sherman, won the first murder case on court TV with a PTSD defense.
Right. Okay. All right. I think I might have that, too. I once bumped my head against the microphone really hard. And I've acted weird ever since, Bill. Ever since. Really.
Oh, and I might as well let you know the Jodi Arias case is still going on.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
They had to hang her by her clit. What do you think of that one?
It's got another month to go at least.
Jesus.
She might like that, no? I think she might like
I was thinking the same thing.
From her meat hooks.
They would have a selfie of her smiling as she was hanging from her meat hook.
She looked like a trapeze artist.
Stop. I'm really like
Cirque du Soleil.
Oh
yeah. Now, the other thing is the state of Arizona would rather spend millions of dollars and try and put her in the electric chair or whatever they've got than just stop the nonsense with the death penalty and put her away for life. They are wasting millions of dollars on this stupid trial.
Cross the $3 million mark for the defense.
That is ridiculous. That money would be better served being given to the special services of, women that are abused or something,
Well,
and that guy that she killed was a fucking idiot, She shouldn't have killed him, but what's no great loss with that fucking asshole. Jesus.
Look,
there ought to be something if you kill somebody that's meaningless, or it would have been, killed by somebody else later, that you get 20 years because he was an idiot.
He was oh boy, I get in trouble with this.
What?
Attacking the victim. He was a scam artist. He was fucking the three-hole wonder. she was not having him under the spell. You know, he was there. He was doing it, you know?
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you. He's a meaningless victim. He's a meaningless victim, you know?
And what's come out, while he's doing all this lovey-dovey talk, he is texting all of his friends. What a slut, hooah, three-hole wonder. These all come out of his text messages.
That's right. Now, you know, when O.J. Simpson was on trial, people go, I can't believe, the jury did. Many, beside the police that they hated, she was the most, was it Nicole Brown Simpson? She was the most unsympathetic victim I have ever seen in my life. And they brought her girlfriend on the stand, and the girlfriend testified that she and Nicole wanted to buy like a Starbucks franchise so that they could meet guys and fuck them. She basically said that in the courtroom because they loved all the guys that came into to wherever the hell they had coffee and shit. And every picture they showed of Nicole Brown Simpson, she had like her lip up in the air like, oh, I'd like to fuck you. I mean, she was the most, unsympathetic victim I've ever seen. I think the jury hated her. They couldn't stand her. Didn't give a shit if she got killed, All right, Alex, thank you very much. Thank you.
Say Mark Furman lost that case.
That's true. All right. Alex at Gavel to Gavel coverage.
Society's oddities played like a fiddle. The Afternoon Drive Show, Sirius XM Indy.
From earlier today at Jay Thomas Show at Gmail, Kenton says that Bush was in Montgomery, Alabama, not Biloxi. And if you look online, you'll see it tells of him partying in Alabama and how he tore up a house that he was leasing on Cloverdale Road in Montgomery. That guy called up and said he was like going to fly over the North Pole with a jet. Boyer says, gee, is Brian Williams the only one that lied about Iraq?
Because Popeye is out.
That's my Popeye.
Really tickled him on that one.
So, by the way, the holiday is coming. Mm-hmm. And they've asked me to be on the Romance Channel, but they want me to do a little bit of acting as if I'm, at a bar. Mm-hmm. And as I said to you before, when you do a cartoon, or many times you can do a movie or something, and maybe you're not, someone's not there, or you kind of act in a vacuum. You act by yourself. So they just sent me one side of it. Then there'll be somebody else playing Fernando. So I said to Christina, let's do it on the air. People can hear how this works. And you'll play Fernando, and then you'll send them this. But in the middle, am I supposed to tell a Valentine's Day story?
Yeah, you're supposed to improv in the middle after you, after you say your joke and everybody laughs. Then you kind of just like improv either your thoughts about Valentine's Day or a Valentine's Day story that you may have. Just keep it kind of clean.
They wrote a joke for me, or I tell a joke?
Well, that the drinks do come true. I don't want to give it away,
Oh, there's a joke in here?
Kinda.
I got you.
Okay.
I got you. So they've already written the joke for me.
Right. But then after that, you're supposed to improv either a thought on Valentine's Day or a Valentine's Day story. And then after that, you're going to improv again what you're going to do next for the night. Are you going to go to the bathroom?
Well, I do have a Valentine's Day story that's not a happy one, though. It was, I meant it to be happy, but it turned out really badly because of what people think of me. And I sent something that was supposed to be loving and wonderful, and I was having a fight with my girlfriend, and I sent her what I thought was going to bring us back together, but it backfired. But it was the fault of whoever sent it, the Postal Service or UPS or whatever. It was their fault, not mine.
Right.
Okay, so I can tell that story.
Okay, perfect.
But first of all, I'm at the bar, right?
Yes.
So I walk into the bar and I say, "Hey, Fernando, how's it going?"
It's very good, sir. I mean, Mr. Jay Thomas.
"Please, call me Jay."
You are a very funny man, sir. I never miss your show on Sirius XM Indie.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Fernando.
So, what can I get you? Tonight, I'm featuring one of my specialties. It's called Between the Sheets. Can I make you one, or will there be two?
Ooh, that could be fun, but I just better make it one, you know. Drinks do come true sometimes. I remember a Valentine's, though. My girlfriend and I were having trouble, and I bought her these roses, beautiful roses, and it was from one of these, you know, online or, you know, by the phone, you know, roses company. And we hadn't spoken in a while. So I sent the roses, and I never heard back from her. And I don't know what to think of it. And a while passed, like, I don't know, 2 weeks or 10 days or something passed. And so finally, I gave her a call, and I said, you know, "Did you get my Valentine's Day?" She goes, "Yes, I did." And she was mad. And apparently, wherever they sent it or whatever, it was late. And somebody else had gotten the box. And then maybe a week or 10 days later, they just put it in front of her door. And when she opened it, the roses were dead and it turned black, completely black. And there was no way I could convince her that I did not send her a dozen dead black roses. And I begged her to believe me that the company did the thing or whatever. But what I did realize is that no matter how evil I had been, and I had been quite evil, remember, I never ran around on anybody. I never did anything like that. I was just bad to be with, you know. And I realized this wasn't the person for me. What do you think of that? Yeah. When you don't accept dead black roses, you find out a lot about people. How's that?
It's great. Let's not forget that you're still going here.
What do you mean I'm still going?
Now you're going to either order another drink or you're going to talk about...
Oh, I got to do something else?
Yeah, there's more improv. You got to either order a drink, talk about checking out maybe the karaoke later, or, maybe catching up with it. Keep going.
Yeah. Well, on that sad note, I think I'm going to go in and hit on a black chick.
All right, now take two.
No, that's not good. That's not good. That's not good. I think I'm going to go in and hit on that little Afghani chick in there.
Jay Thomas, Valentine's Day soiree, take three.
Hey, Fernando, you think you and me and your sister could have a threesome? No good?
No.
No good. I'm trying everything. So I was supposed to say, supposed to say something?
Yeah, just, either order another drink and then say, I'm going to go check out karaoke.
Okay, hold on a minute. Hey, you know what? That drink you gave me was delicious, but apparently I got to go into the bathroom. It reminds me of the time that I went into this bathroom, and I was so loaded that I went into a ladies' room by accident. And I'm standing over the toilet, and the woman comes in, she says, "Oh my God," wait a minute, what did she say to me? Oh my God, hold on. She said something, but I was so drunk on her, and I said something like, she said, wait a second. This isn't for, wait a second. This is for
men's room.
No, wait a second. No. This is for ladies. And I'm taking a leak, right? And I said, well, this will be for a lady as soon as I run some water through it.
Oh, boy.
No good. I can't use any of these. Okay, nope. Take 7. Oh, Fernando, that was delicious. Unbelievable. Now I'm going to try and find some Ku Klux Klans members and see if they want to drink another Between the Sheets.
Take 45. All right, and action.
Hey, Fernando, is there any good karaoke around here? Oh, sole mio, oh, contendino. See you, Fernando.
Good night, Jay.
How about that?
That's a wrap.
Send it to him.
All right.
I bet they use, I'm going to go in there and hit on that black chick. Huh? Nope.
I don't know.
No good?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
We'll see,
All
though.
right.
You know, check out the romance.
All right. Since I look like Al Sharpton, black women are hitting on me all the time now.
I can imagine.
All the time. So, all right. So you'll send that to them.
Yep.
And they'll tell us if they like it or not.
Right.
You know, that's a true story about those roses.
Yeah.
And she was a mean one. She's a mean one. She was a mean one. And that gave, you know, she
You're
wouldn't
absolutely
take, you
right.
know.
She's not the right person for you. Can you imagine something really bad happening in your life, and that's how she takes news and things that happen? Absolutely not.
Of course I wasn't going to send her black roses, for God's sakes. I wasn't dead roses. I mean, you know, it was like, where do you even buy those? You know?
Mm-hmm.
And I called the company, and I said, you know, I complained, and someone in her building or something had gotten them, and they sat around for a few days, and then or a week, whatever it was, and then they put them in front of the door, you know? I mean, it's actually a good one to think of if you don't like someone, but you'd have to buy the roses and then keep them around until they were good and dead, and then you deliver them.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's go to Chris in Pennsylvania. Yes, Chris, it's Jay Thomas. Hello. Yes.
Hey, Jay, how's it going?
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I
Good.
was curious. Still giving out gift certificates to the Berries.
Yeah, but not just for calling in. I do them as a surprise.
Oh, okay. I was just curious, just checking.
Well, no, I mean, you didn't notice that I'd be talking to someone who said something interesting, and all of a sudden, no, I'm joking. I would give them the berries. It's not a call in like a. What do you think this is? You know, KJoy 104. You know, where the 14th caller gets the.
Would be that low and flat, way up there. No, seriously.
What is it? What is it, Christina? What?
We don't have a phrase that pays.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're the 14th caller here on KJoy 104, you get some Sherry's berries. No, we're not. Who would you don't have enough money to buy something for your girlfriend?
Nah, you know how you get paid twice a month. I don't get paid till next week. So I was just trying to call in. It's no big deal, though.
So what is she going to get? Nothing? She gets nothing?
Probably a homemade card.
Oh, that's nice.
Oh, that's wonderful. What's going to be on the card? You're going to draw little hearts? Are you a good artist?
I don't know. I was thinking of maybe having my two daughters help me come up with something.
So you got two daughters. Is this for your wife or your new girlfriend?
Wife.
Oh, for your wife. Wow. You know what? You got to send her this on the card. You know, sweetheart, if we didn't have these two kids, we'd have a lot of money to spend for the holidays.
Yeah, that's true, but, you know.
That's funny. That'll make her laugh. You like that? You like that, Christina? No good? That's not a good one.
I like the homemade card.
You like the homemade card? Take two? All right, let's give him the Sherry's berries. I started feeling sorry for you there. You got the two kids. You don't have the money. A $50 gift certificate, and you just go to berries.com. Hold on, and Medina or Christina will tell you how to get them.
Listen, maybe if he goes homeless, he'll get everything for free, you know?
True.
Well, yeah.
There's always a second option.
Live under a bridge, and people start giving you stuff. Apparently, that's how it works. They give you that guy got two telephones, you know? All right. By the way, I just received this one. Jay, you talked about the Swift boaters who had served with John Kerry in Vietnam, and John Kerry's political intentions were why he joined the service. Oh, so he decided to go to Vietnam and maybe get killed so that he could be elected later on. Great. Good idea. Yeah, right. Well, it worked out, didn't it? That's why, yeah, you join, you go overseas, you're in a swift boat going down those canals where they were picking you off, you know, like you were a duck during hunting season in the marsh. Yeah, good idea. Let's just go to Michael of Texas. Yes, Michael. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jay, those Vice President Bush sympathizers, well, they got it all wrong. You know, he was in the Air National Guard, the Champagne. It was
No. His dad was the real deal.
Yeah.
But his dad, the plane went down. Do you remember this?
Yeah, but
and he was a kid, and he parachuted and lived, and everybody in the plane. No, wait. Did he bring the plane down and land it, or did he parachute out and everybody died in the plane? Remember that about his dad?
Yeah, that's his dad, but I always deemed W as vice president because that was Cheney was the president. You know that.
Oh, Cheney was the president? I see. Yeah. I got you. Wow.
Yeah.
And you're from Texas? You're like an imam saying that ISIS shouldn't have killed that Jordanian pilot. You better be careful. They might hang you in Texas, right, Medina?
Or set you on fire.
Yeah, you got to be careful talking against the Bushes in Texas. So, well, look, we'll do it tomorrow at Howard 101. All right. This has been the Jay Thomas Show, and it will continue to be the Jay Thomas Show. The next time it comes on this channel at the very same time. Remember, God bless America.
And then I'm going to call my buddy.
And no one else.
On the telephone.
When is somebody going to write a country song with that title, huh? How many times do I have to say it? All right.